Let me go one more time.
Nah, just keep going. Keep going. It's tight. Now we're talking. Hey. Thank you for blessing the podcast. That was rad. We are live now. I know it's kind of strange sometimes. I still haven't got used to like not being live, and then suddenly we're live. You know what I mean?
I don't do this all the time, so maybe you know what you mean. But
yeah, because I'm like 30 episodes in almost. So
yeah, man, you're like,
yeah.
I know when you told me that you had all these like set up. You know, you told me to go get that COVID test before I came here, so I did. I'm just kidding.
Oh man. Yeah, man, we're just here chilling. Today, I told you before, if this were Joe Rogan's podcast, Eloy is Hamilton Morris. He's Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. If anybody's ever watched that show.
That guy's definitely been out there. I'm still yet to experience as much as he has, but I'm down to be Rick's Hamilton.
Yes, because we need to talk about a lot of things that are really awesome. Obviously, you know.
Mine too far? Or you can.
No, I would say come a little closer. Yeah, you can bring it out to you too. Yeah. We're gonna talk about substances. Obviously, many different substances. Not yesterday. The day before yesterday, I did a podcast with Jesus Juice, one of the homies that you met, and we got hella wasted. Like,
like drunk?
Our podcast was fine, like, for the first, like, hour. So don't watch the whole thing. You know, anybody's going to watch it. Just tune into about halfway and then tune out. And then tune out.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean watch it the first half.
And then don't watch the second half. Because we went on for way too long about nothing. We just got hella faded. And alcohol is one of those things that after I drink alcohol, I don't feel good after. You know what I mean? One, I feel guilty for having drank the alcohol. You know what I mean? And two, physically your body doesn't like, alcohol. Like the next day you don't feel good about having poisoned yourself. Yeah. So this is gonna be a little bit different. Well, I've recovered from my shenanigans from that podcast, so I feel good now.
Okay. How long ago was that?
That was like 2 days ago or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we're here
2 days.
now.
2 days for somebody who's about to hit 30 is good.
Do you think that's good? I was good pretty much. Yeah. It took me like one afternoon. To, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Man,
but
I haven't gotten like. I got drunk a couple times last year, just letting go of like moments where I thought that I wasn't gonna be drinking anymore, and then I somehow like found myself doing it again. But I mean, I just now it's kind of weird, dude. Like the point that I've gotten to where I no longer count the days as to like the last time I did like certain things. Before I used to be like, man, I haven't drinking a month, or it's been like a whole year. Like like I'll get into that later, but part of letting stuff go is like stop holding on to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for me, I've gone through a lot of phases. I think all of us can say that when we were young, we probably do too much of everything, because we want to experience the whole world. Mm-hmm. So we're wanting to, do everything. So we overdo a lot of things, especially when we don't have the guidance. We don't have others showing us, like, hand in hand, like, what the effects, negative and positive, could be of engaging in some behaviors, whether that's substance abuses or whether that's certain friendships or whether that's, girls or vice versa, boys, whatever it may be. As you're growing up, people don't really give you these, like, pro tips more. I mean, of course, we get some, some input, but a lot of things are self-discovery. So I feel like we overdo a lot of stuff, especially, like, that's one of the problems in the, like, in the South LA area. Like, people are 30, they already lived a whole ass life. You know what I mean? And other families, they're 30 and they're just now getting started. Like, how many people do you know that have gone to college, right? They're 27, 28, barely getting out of school, and they're barely now trying new things, going to Burning Man, going to Coachella, going to Bonnaroo.
I would say
you know what I mean?
I mean, I would say that there's like a bunch of groups of people, but like if you're talking about like people from those areas, like there's a people who like they didn't go to school and they didn't do any of that shit either, you know. So there's definitely those people, and then there's a lot of college kids. You know,
Bring your mic a little bit closer.
A lot of college kids.
Or get closer, fool.
Oh,
Come
man,
on, get comfortable.
I'm kinda scared.
Get comfortable. You gotta be as loud as I am.
Okay.
Too loud. No, you're good right there. You're good.
Yeah, but I feel like there's those people, like college kids who did that stuff, and then there's like people like me who didn't go to college, but chose to, you know, spend my money on like having fun and things like that.
I see what
while
you're
still
saying.
being responsible.
Yeah. No, I guess the point I was trying to make is that like
I guess I didn't kid.
Like sometimes like I'm sure like you've seen like 15, 16-year-old kids that already do everything. You know what I mean?
That definitely wasn't me.
Yeah. You know,
I see what you mean now, but yeah.
Like in South LA, there's a lot of that going on. You know, like some kids turn 18, there's nothing they haven't done.
But even then, I mean that's not true because like they do substances, but they don't do everything. Like,
bro,
I know
everything, bro.
Oh, you're talking about like trying like
Just
substances,
life experiences in general, like
because like I mean like I would say that like at least 90% of those kids haven't traveled.
That's the one thing that nobody in the hood does is travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody leaves the hood. Nobody goes to the hood, and nobody gets out the hood.
I used to go to the hood to go to Scott shows.
Bro, you live in the hood. What are you talking about?
Nah, Hawthorne is not that good.
Don't tell people. No, just playing. No, Hawthorne's okay. Yeah, it's part of like the whole. I think the whole South Bay.
South Central.
The whole South Bay area in general is like a little different than the Southeast LA area in a way, you know.
We
but
have
getting closer
hoods.
to Inglewood can get kind of crazy.
Yeah, we have. So there's like a section between. There's like Lenox, all of Lenox. It's not that
Lenox
it's hood.
is ugly, bro.
Yeah, but Lenox, like down Lenox, and
I don't even
Inglewood,
like people from Lenox.
That's just pretty. That's just pretty rough. And then you have everything in between, like Century, Prairie, Crenshaw, and Imperial. Like this whole. It's called. I can't remember what the neighborhood is called, but it's a section of Inglewood though, and like so you have that, and that part is pretty good. And then the part like in Hawthorne, it's called. I forget what it's called, but it's around Prairie Vista Middle School. I think that's what it's called. And there's just like a whole section where it's just like
just weird.
Yeah, I didn't grow up there. I just heard about the stories.
So what you're saying is that wasn't you, and so your experiences were a little bit different. Maybe you took things slow and stuff like this.
I definitely did. Well, like I was raised like in a Catholic home. My dad, you know, not that he kept us away from us, but not that he kept that away from us, but from the things he did, he did keep it away from us, you know, and like putting us in Catholic school, you know, putting us in private school, like not letting us go out after a certain time. Like my dad was very watchful of us, and so like.
So let me ask, if you come from like a stricter background. What is it that got you interested in exploring, you know, more like spirituality and what recently I've seen you posting on the internet, which has been these cool like retreats, and like you did the ayahuasca retreat, right? Mm-hmm. And then recently I saw you third time, yeah. I saw you hanging out with a new group of individuals, right? Maybe kind of explain to me what's this new thing you've been doing.
So the first question you said was like, how did I get into it? I would say that like everyone goes through like something, like some kind of trauma in their life, and whether it's caused by others or by your own thinking patterns, or just by the way you think, the way you're raised and stuff like that. But I would say it was like I know it sounds kind of whack, but it's like breaking my own heart through like addiction to sex and love. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so.
Yeah, that's not a good enough excuse. No,
I'm saying like, you know, not everybody's like, what are you talking about? You know, it's like, nah, dude. No, people are addicted to alcohol.
You've explored yourself like more thoroughly, I think. So I think you can make observations about yourself, right? And you're not afraid to make these observations, whereas most other people are reserved when they want to talk about something or do something. You know, most of the time, other people before they say something about themselves, they're already thinking like, how are people gonna think about me if I say these things? Is it gonna affect my ego? But you're coming from a place where I think like half the time that you're saying stuff, you're saying things because you're like have already stepped ahead of what the ego is, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So you talk about feelings and things that usually make like people uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and you feel more comfortable saying those things, right?
Yeah,
Am I right?
I'm not like, I can tell when someone is like willing to go or dive into that conversation.
Yes,
other times like I'm like, not that this person's gonna sock me out if I start telling them about like, hey, how do your mom treat you? Like.
But they'll do the whole like,
No, I don't need that. Or no, I don't. Or like nothing's wrong with me. Like,
okay. Yeah.
like most people, they don't want to talk about shit. They just say like,
or even not talk about it themselves. But some people don't even want to hear you talk about stuff like that.
Oh yeah, so when I was first transitioning, like, and I say transitioning, like, and I'm still transitioning, into a fucking.
I'm drinking V8 because Eloy's vegan.
Shut up.
Look, I got my best.
I got coconut water.
I just was hey, we're already kind of diving into crazy subjects. We didn't even introduce you or nothing. This is my man Eloy. He's a guy.
I was skinnier the last podcast, by the way.
Eloy looking like a caveman, said Taylor. That's Taylor, by the way.
Oh, what's up, Taylor? Damn.
Our SF homie.
SF, he's still out there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cheers to Taylor, my boy.
Hope you're doing good, man.
Yeah, bro. So this is my man Eloy. We didn't even introduce, and we were supposed to. I mean, we got the V8, we got the coconut water, but we got something else.
So actually, you want to talk about that right now? I make these chocolate mushrooms, out of vegan dark sea salt chocolate that I brewed together. But I'm eventually gonna start making them out of cacao liquor and like making them chocolate. And so anyway, you want to try one?
Yes. So we're gonna.
I already had one myself.
We blessed the podcast with the flute, and Eloy had some of this psilocybin mushroom chocolate. So I'm gonna try some myself.
There you go.
Cheers.
What he just took right now is a very small micro dose. It would just get us laughing. It's not gonna do anything. Like, we're not gonna about to see Jeebus or anything like that, So like we'll just be fine. We'll be able to like talk smoothly, maybe even tap into some of Rick's emotions. But
nah, I'm a rock, bro.
Yeah, that's that Taurus in him. But as a water sign, a drop constantly on the same spot will create a crevice. So
he's gonna get at my soft spot, boys.
There's only been a few times, but anyway. So back to the like. Why I got into it, like, pretty much, like, that pain led me to, fall down, get back up again, fall down, get back up again, fall down. And eventually to the point where I felt so low that I got to a point of, like, and I talked about it last time, that, like, I got to a point of wanting to off myself, and eventually, again, like, I found... some light, and my first podcast here, I talked about Ayahuasca Ceremony, and I talked about all those things,
right?
And then that was like July 2019, July 2019, and man, what I can tell you about after that moment, bro, it was like ayahuasca had opened all these doors and all these windows inside. Like, I want to, like, my beautiful temple, just be like, yo, go out and explore this. Like, these are all these new things you just learn. And
what's the, like, sorry to interrupt, but what's the active ingredient in ayahuasca mostly? It's
two plants. It's one root and one leaf, and they pretty much blew. I don't know what they're called. It's like, that's not my specialty.
One's an activator, right? But the main, like, is it tryptamine? Is it DMT? What is it?
So... nothing you take necessarily has like a load of DMT that will, it's more like an activation for your DMT.
Yeah. So let's because
we can look that up.
Just so that if we get the science behind everything correct, let's just pull up specifically what. So let's just
Jesus juice.
That's who my guest was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So what does Wikipedia tells us? Wikipedia tells us that ayahuasca. Yep, DMT, dimethyltryptamine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, AKA the spirit.
Oh yeah,
molecule,
well,
whatever you wanna call it.
people like to, wait, what does it say?
So basically, from what I know, there's really no way to create or extract.
Nah, but see, this is why is it saying that. Oh no! Look what it's saying. Although a chemically similar preparation, sometimes called pharmahuasca, can be prepared using DMT.
Oh, I see.
But it's not. It's just plants. Like
right. But what somebody went and studied specifically about DMT is that, about ayahuasca and how it's related to DMT is that once you take this orally, right? Because it's the right combination.
You talking about like smoking?
No, like ingesting it. That because of the right combination of different plants, that you're essentially synthesizing DMT, but in like a really rudimentary, old school way. You know what I mean? A way that most people would have never guessed. Like scientists would have never known that was gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Scientists don't know shit. Like...
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But yes, you're right. It's like the difference between synthetic caffeine and organic caffeine that happens naturally in the product or whatever, right? Yeah, so like drinking yerba mate or drinking Monster.
But this is why like things like this. I mean, this Wikipedia, but like
this is to be.
I have a whole like thought process on what like taking DMT and smoking it.
Yeah.
Like,
so earlier you were saying that you don't feel that it's the actual substance, but that it's an activation for how you already your internal processes.
Yeah, you have DMT in you. You know,
everybody has DMT. Supposedly, it's only activated when you are born and when you die. Correct?
Right, but you can take substances like mushrooms, you know, or ayahuasca or acid to like activate a certain percentage of it to like and open up in a different way, you know.
Right.
But anyway, you know, back to the that first time, you know, like right after, I just kind of, like I said, it opened all these doors and windows, and eventually, like within a week, like, dude, I got into a relationship. I don't know if I remember telling you, but like I got into this relationship where like I had this vision, and I was like, yo, like I think this person's the one or something like that, you know. But I think we were just talking so much prior to this, and this person was there for me for a while. And yo, she was like not the right person. I don't want to like bag on her, but like she just was not the right person, you know. And eventually like things fell, and I just started to slowly like step into the world that I was trying to get away from. Because when I first did ayahuasca, I remember I came in here like, yo, I'm like so like open.
Yeah, you're very excited, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to share with people, but the thing was that I didn't have a family, a spirit, what we call it is a spirit family, you know, like somebody that thinks like-minded like me or has been through similar experiences.
So before you go on to describe your spirit family, can I give you like a vague understanding of what I think about that before you describe it? So basically, one of the things that I find really interesting about substances in general is that, let's say you want to explore things beyond your ego, right? Things beyond the things that you can control with your thought, right? Things that live in your subconscious. When you are exploring that realm, whether it be with substances or meditation or whatever, right? It's always useful, am I right, to have somebody who's been there to guide you, right? Like to have a guide of some sort. So this is why, like with the ayahuasca ceremony, it's not just about the substance, but it's about the whole experience, right?
Yeah.
Like the guidance that someone's giving you to take you to that spiritual place. It's the same reason why when people talk about taking psilocybin and microdosing, or when they talk about taking psilocybin to counter depression, right? People say it's about the process. So you take the psilocybin, but there needs to be a guidance counselor somebody there to walk you through the emotional rehabilitation to kind of get those neurons in your brain rewired in a way where they're healed, right? Am I right? Am I right to assume that?
Yeah.
So is that kind of what your spirit family thing is about?
Well, yes but no. Like yes in the sense that like one of those people is part of the family, but the whole family is like we call it spirit family because we go through like a shared experience together. So a guide is just a guide. He's they call them sometimes shamans or a guide. You know, I'm like slowly trying to like step into that role as well. Like, and a spirit family is like this. Like, let's say I invite like 10 people over, and this everyone's first time to like do mushrooms, right, or something like that. And I sit you guys down. I teach you guys how to hold this in a sacred, sort of sacred space, and like where, like history on the mushroom and things like that, and like why it means so much to certain types of people, like in Oaxaca, you know, and things like that, and like teach you about other medicines that can help you. Like, for instance, there's something called hape, which I'll show you guys in a bit, and sananga. They're used like in ayahuasca ceremonies and combo bufo ceremonies. And pretty much a spirit family is a certain amount of people who come together for ceremony and all experience something to a point where like you all share energies. And unless you've experienced this, like I cannot explain it to you.
So are you saying that it's possible to have a communal experience? So you're saying
100%.
You're saying that
you can do that without substances.
Yeah, so you're saying that you can have experiences with others, but it would be a shared experience amongst many people, but that is one experience? Is that what you're saying?
Well, everyone goes through their own thing, but
what I'm basically trying to say is, can we all jump onto the same spaceship and fly to the same place?
Shit, I haven't experienced that. And if we have, like...
Because there's been stories that I've heard of people saying that, depending on X, Y, Z, that they have seen the same things and thought that that's impossible unless they went to the same place. Kind of.
Well, a lot of people who smoke DMT always say, like, they see the same thing. Like, if someone's saying one story, and then the guy's like, oh, I experienced something like that. So, in a sense, yes, because they all offer the same thing, you know? But at the end of the day, your thoughts, your memories, your experiences are what shapes your experience on ayahuasca. Like,
right.
Like, and I'm talking about life experience. So
all
your
would
life
be the
experience,
biggest influence.
Yeah,
nobody is the same person, so of course everyone's trip will be different.
How about everyone's on the same spaceship, but they're looking at different iPad screens or something like that?
Or they're looking out different windows.
Exactly, and then every window, something like that, you know. Yeah. But anyway, so again. After dating this girl, you know, I started to dive into all these things, and pretty much I started to dive back into like something that I didn't want to be in. Like I dove into a relationship, but like little by little I started to learn things, you know, like it was like everything was a test, you know what I'm saying? It was like, and we call her Mother Aya because ayahuasca, when you're under the effects of ayahuasca, it feels like almost like a mother energy is guiding you through all these things. It feels like you're being cradled as you're vomiting, as you're crying, as you're shaking, as you're sweating, like all these forms of purging while you're on ayahuasca. Like it feels like a mother energy is telling you like it's gonna be okay. Just let it all out. Just let it all out. You know. And so that's why it's so beautiful that when everyone wakes up, you're like, yo, like we just went through the same shit, you know, and then we're up, we're talking about like, man, I can't believe I just went through this. Like, this is what my experience was like. And then the next person goes, and the next day, all you're doing is talking about everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're just taking, you're like, all right, I'm going home. Like, nah, bro, we sleep in the fucking same place, you know? And at least this is how it is with my practitioner.
Right.
Because I don't know anybody else, you know. Should you go and find ayahuasca on your own and just try it? Shit, maybe. Who knows? Like, that's up to you. But
this is one of the main things that is a problem for me. when discussing these topics, and that is that the science is not like, I'll give you one example. Experiences, like, I wish that there was someone out there, like some scientist of one form or another, that was taking people's experiences and literally like cataloging them and categorizing them, right? Like, people have these kind of experiences, these kind of experiences, these kind of experiences, right? And then that way, if we did that, I mean, there were some experiments with LSD in the 60s and 70s with the MK Ultra and weird stuff that the government was doing, but that, I mean, like, in a positive way, you know, like.
But why you gotta, like, so this is something that, like,
why? I'll tell you why. Because you need to be able to connect what your experiences were in that realm of spirituality. You need to be able to bring it down from that place, formulate it, and translate it into language that will work for actual, like, everyday use and consumption.
100% no.
No?
No.
Why not?
Because it's something that you can't do. That's like, again, like, it's like taking a natural thing and trying to let me understand it. Just fucking try it.
Everything's a natural thing, but
that's the thing that like once you try these things, you get into a different mode of thinking. Like, and you know, and I see this with a lot of people who like have an argument for everything, and like I look back on friends that I grew up with. You know, when we were growing up, we used to go to Sunday school, and they got kicked out because they were asking the priest, "Oh, so where does God come from?"
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah, and then it's just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with you fucking stupid kids. Get out of here. And I just think like, oh, my friends are cool. Like, they think for themselves. You know, like they do this, and then like growing up, like I would look up to them because they knew things about like technology and how to like rewire shit. And this is not, you know, this is a whole different group of people. And so like.
This is not me he's talking about.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, and now I look at them and like everything I'm doing, it's like it's questioned. Or like it's ridiculed in a sense.
This is why I think that's why that's the most important thing. Because let me tell you,
man.
I don't think that those experiences are invalid, and I don't think that they're not important. As a matter of fact, I think that they're so important. They're so important that they need to become mainstream in a way. People need to accept the use of psilocybin and not look down on it with negative connotation, right? People need to take the use of these substances more frequently and imagine what world we would live in.
Just think about weed though, dude. Like everyone, that's what happened. And what's weed now? It's just like a fucking something that you sell, like. And it's like, here, buy this thing, like, and it has all these kind of additives, and now like tax and everything. It's like, I don't want that to happen to ayahuasca or mushrooms.
So you prefer? This is a good argument because let's take example marijuana in its case, right? Pre-legalization, right? Marijuana was on the streets, and it was impotent. It was more its natural form. People hadn't taken so many strains of marijuana and turned it into super powerful. Yeah, Gorilla Glue or something like this, right? Yeah. It was just weed, right? People would just buy it and smoke it illegally. But people hella went to jail for that stuff, you know what I mean? And it was like looked down upon. People were looked at as bad people for engaging in the behavior of smoking marijuana, right? At least, yes, now it's legal. Yes, you're right. Even Monsanto, who is like a terrible corporation, which is like the representation of pure evil today, wants to get into the business of selling marijuana. And that's not good for anybody, right? Because these guys are going to make it really whack. They're going to make
GMO. It already kind of is, like, you know.
So now people are focusing with weed. There's different industries. There's the guys focusing on making it really potent. There's the guys focusing on turning weed into extracts like wax and all this other stuff because normal weed is just not enough for some reason, so they gotta go and make everything super concentrated and get really lit. Like, you might as well be smoking crack cocaine at this point, you know?
Yeah, I'm just like what do you anytime somebody offers me some wax, I'm just like,
nah, bro, I'm not trying to go to sleep right now, bro.
Yeah. It's just like, nah, I got shit to do today.
And is it so? All right, if that did happen to marijuana, there's something else that happened to marijuana. Mike Tyson's working on the Tyson Ranch brand. Right, and he's working on creating a space where people can smoke weed and feel free to do it and engage in other behaviors like drinking alcohol. Why can't you go to a bar? Why is it you could go to a bar, drink alcohol, but you can't go to a lounge and smoke weed and play arcade games or something? You know, why isn't that a type of business yet, right? Because it's still kind of frowned upon. It's still kind of looked down on. You know what I mean? Marijuana, yes, it's become legal. There's still a lot of negative connotations that go along with it. And yes, some people go too far with marijuana, right? Yes, people say, is marijuana addictive? Is it really? Technically, no. But me and you, we know people that smoke 24/7 and all day, every day, and they're never not high. And how do those people function when they're not high?
They're angry.
Angry, bro. Mad. Oh, I gotta get my weed and blah, blah, blah.
Life sucks.
Yeah, and now that's a dependency.
And I'll get into that too, but like again, like it's like.
So let me finish my point, because we were talking about what does that have to do with things like ayahuasca and normalizing those things, right? Well, yes, marijuana normalization and legalization has some negative impacts, right? But it also has some positive impacts. We have CBD, right, for the use of medicinal purposes. And people take CBD for joint pains and for other things. Sports guys, a lot of people take CBD, and it is not psychoactive. So something positive came from that industry, right? Yeah. More or less. And I think in the same fashion, trying to legalize, let's say psilocybin as an example, right? It will be a problem, right? People will abuse it. People try to make it ultra potent. But then there will be people who are going to take it to where it needs to be taken, which is to help with depression, microdosing, to help with anxiety, to help with, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there will be the right kind of people out there to take it where it needs to go. And we need scientists to really catalog these experiences in order to put them in a place of, in order to give them a proper description for everyday use. Like, and again, there are these separations between science and spirituality, and it happens very often. For example, people that are too scientific, they're too rigid. They don't want to they don't want to accept anything that isn't hard science. You know what I mean? Like someone brings an experience on DMT and they're like, "Yo, like it's God. I know it's God." Right? And then this science person is just going to look at them and be like, "But what evidence do you have for this God, you know? Did he give you a formula? Did he give you some mathematics that solve all of the answers to the world?" No. So how do we know it's God? That's just your experience. It's anecdotal, right? That's the number one takeaway. It's anecdotal, so it's not worth anything. But it really is worth a lot. You know what I mean? And the science guy is willing to throw it all away because he worships science. He's basically a Scientologist if they hadn't already taken that word and turned it into a religion. You know what I mean? So what's the problem with spirituality is the same problem, in my opinion. In spirituality, there's a lot of we don't accept science because spirituality told us not to. There are plenty of Christians that I know that don't believe that the world is more than 2,000 years old. There are plenty of Christians that I know that don't believe in Darwinian theory.
Yeah, right there you're bringing spirituality and religion together. And
that's,
I know
religion is not the same thing as spirituality.
No, fuck no.
No, but that doesn't mean that religion can't be spiritual. Religion is spiritual in the core. If you actually read the Bible, if you actually read these books, it's about spirit.
But the mass majority of these people that go to church and stuff like that,
they are Orthodox Christians. They are Orthodox religious people.
And they just follow rules that
by tradition, not by spirituality. You know, exactly. if they were spiritual, they would know that the experiences that you're having under these substances are hand in hand with what Jesus himself described as being God. You know what I mean? Like if they would actually read the Bible properly, they would know that those two things are probably the same thing. Which is why people like Graham Hancock say that religion probably came from, this is his argument, from the use of these substances. That it must have been because people discovered these substances that the idea of God was born. That's his argument, right? That if it wasn't for Moses inhaling the burning bush, right, that he wouldn't have seen the 10 Commandments coming to him from God. That if it wasn't for, you know what I mean? There's all these different things that happen in history that could be attributed potentially to exploring these realms of spirituality with the use of substances or meditation, whatever, you know? In my opinion, I do think that spirit and science is the same thing. And I think that if you combine spirit and science together, then you get like the most powerful weapon, the most powerful truth. It's a truth that transcends spirituality and reality, the metaphysical and the physical, right? So in my opinion, when I hear you say, like, no, we don't want to assimilate these experiences with science, right? It makes me feel like the science guy telling me, no, we don't want to hear Eloy's story about ayahuasca because it's anecdotal and it doesn't matter. To me, those are both sides of the same coin. You know what I mean?
What does a science guy do for spirituality other than write shit down? Like you say, catalog things.
A lot, bro. Science asks the same questions that spiritual people do.
But they don't like on a deep level, like they don't know. They haven't experienced. It's like, hey, I read about Portugal. Have you been? No, but I read that it's super beautiful, and it's like it's got all these colors and things like that, and it's like, oh, so your imagination is really nice. I like it, but you should try to go.
Have you been to Portugal? Yeah.
But have you been to Portugal? You should go. Well, I've been thinking about it, but I really don't think so. I mean, I already read the book, like. No, you should go experience it because it's a whole different thing,
Yeah.
You didn't have conversations with people out there. You didn't do these things. You didn't do that. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. So and that's what I'm getting at. So it's like, dude, like at the end of the day, a scientist. And literally, I was thinking about like what conversations I have with Rick, and I know this is gonna be one of them. Like, like it really is that like until you're saying. Have scientists pretty much pave the way so that...
No, I didn't say pave the way.
No, I'm saying pretty much pave the way so that spirituality can come and leak out to the majority in the mass, In reality, you don't need to do that because I'm here, literally only here for the people who want to hear it. Anybody else, that's on there, bro. It's like... This is what the medicine teaches us.
But that'd be like a science guy saying this is the world is round, and anyone else who wants to believe the world is flat, well, that's on them.
Well, is it gonna harm anybody?
Yes.
Why?
Because if fools run around thinking the world is
flat. Okay, but who's it gonna harm though?
A lot of people. But potentially bad science can lead to catastrophes.
But I'm saying the flat Earth, at least the flat Earth, like what harm do they, like just from thinking of a flat Earth, like
because.
What harm do they do to people?
Having information that is incorrect is the root of ignorance. Like,
okay, I know, but I'm saying like as far as like them believing flat Earth, like just
they can do a lot of damage just by them believing it. Especially just one person believing something. Belief is very important. Belief is the root of everything.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Sorry, yeah. I was just trying to make the point of like that until someone and there you go. I wasn't defending them. I was just saying let them have their belief. I'm just saying that like the people who actually discovered that the world was round tried some shit. When the people who thought the fucking Earth was a square and they were gonna fall off the face of the Earth, they were just like, nah, you don't go that way.
But
like you'll fall off.
This is where the assimilation has to come in your mind for you to understand what I'm saying, because it's really a lot simpler than that.
Okay, I already see it. It's like, all right.
Okay, try and guess.
The Christopher Columbus goes and discovers shit, and then he has somebody writing everything down to send back to fucking main Europe and be like, nah, bro, it's really round. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, since you guys know, now we can believe you. Like, we don't have to go and try it.
That's actually a really good point that I hadn't thought of. That is actually that's actually a really good idea. Like, yes,
but you should still go fucking see the Americas, man.
But there needs to be a guy with a map. You know what I mean? Yeah. Writing that shit down, man. Like,
all right. Me and Rick came to a conclusion. All right, I see what you're saying, but it's just because like
this is why I think of science as the same as spirituality, because you're asking the same questions. Think about this: spirituality is about where did we come from, who are we, where are we going, how long have we been here, all these things. Science is asking literally the exact same thing. Like you could read the Bible and it says, "In the beginning there was light," and then you'll have a science guy tell you, the world was created, the universe was created from a singular point where all light expanded from. Like, y'all are literally saying the same fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking difference in with which interpretation you choose. I think of it this way: science is the trying to understand the things that you can see, hear, and touch in your current physical reality, in your awareness of being awake, right? And spirituality is the exploration of all those same questions, but not in the realm of the things that are here and now, but in the realm of the subconscious, right? The other place that is yet to be explored, right? Where there is information, sacred information. Even some people will go as far as to say the most sacred information comes from these places.
I think my disdain for scientists come from, like, one, just like the church at some point was able to, buy out, like, certain, people who, painters or whatever,
that's
just
true. They did do that.
just so that they can control people. And this is like scientists do the same thing. They're
and
paid
as
people.
Hispanics, we really don't like that, right? Like we really
right. So scientists are just paid people, like who are constantly like being directed to hey, study this for me, and if the results don't come out the way I want them to, try it again. Maybe skew some shit. And that's what I mean. Like, there's very few scientists out there who just like do things like for themselves, and if they do, like, what happens to them? They just get shut down real quick, or they die, or like, they get killed off or something. And it's like, this is why I don't want to depend on that, like, to be able to spread the word versus like, and I've been using this a lot lately, and my sister was like, well, I don't like when people use the word Jesus. And I'm like, well, just take this from the Bible, like, and I'm not talking about believing him or anything, but in that book, like, people follow this man because he showed people what he can do. Like, hey, I'm showing you. I'm not over here preaching anything. I'm not doing this. And he didn't tell nobody you should live like this or you should do that. Nah, he just walked this fucking path, and everybody liked what he did, and they were like, that guy looks cool, man. We should, Yeah. And that's why I take from ayahuasca. It's like, yo, okay, teach me these things. The plant teaches you all these things, and you're like, maybe I should live my life this way, And I'm not here to tell people like, hey man, you're doing this thing wrong. Like, nah, it's just like.
So you think that science is used as a ruler to tell people what fits and what doesn't?
Right now, fuck yeah. Like right now, there is.
So you don't want spirituality to be used as a ruler to tell people what is and what isn't, right?
Yeah, I pretty much don't want to see that like science, take a hold of it and then just try to make it something to monopolize on. Because, dude, that's what I don't want.
But that's an effect of capitalism, not science. This is happening.
Right, but capitalism uses science. That's the thing.
Or the other way. Science uses capitalism to get to where they're trying to get to.
Well, capitalism's got the money to buy
Elon
science.
Musk uses capitalism to launch his rocket into space, right? Like, he has to go and get funds.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, we really, when I used to work for SpaceX, like, that was the whole idea. We're doing all these projects for all these fucking satellites, Facebook, who knows, the fucking Air Force, to get all this money so that we can fund our research for Mars. Because that's what he wanted to do, you know?
Yeah. So, he sells cars so he can launch rockets.
I mean, I don't know. Like, that's a whole different company. I don't think people with the money over there don't like mixing shit, probably.
Yeah, probably not. You're probably right. You know better. You work there.
Because Tesla was definitely like doing way better when SpaceX was in a rut. Like, Tesla was chilling, and vice versa. But going back to Spirit Family, it's like these people now. Like, there's some people that fall off. Like, I fell off for sure after my first experience. Like I was saying, like, I got into all these, like, instead of saying things like bad happened to you now, like, you're like, this is a test. Life is testing me right now. I no longer look at it, it's like, oh, why me? Woe is me. No, dude, it's a fucking test. Like, am I strong enough to go through this? Or am I going to just go right back to, like, doing the shit that I used to do, drinking, sex, all this stuff. Like, no, like, and I don't want to do that.
So you think that, to put a differentiation in those two types of behaviors, you're saying that using these substances is different from how we typically use substances, right? Like alcohol or even sex or
great
whatever.
segue. So check it out. Oh, even sex is a fucking form of this. So there's something called manifestation, right? Where you pray enough, or you believe enough, or you do something enough that one day it's gonna happen. And obviously,
I don't believe in that though.
I said there's such thing as manifestation, and that's fine. But I think you do without even believing in it, because the minute you say, "I want to get me these turntables," you're already doing the work for you. You already believed in it so hard that you're gonna do the work. That shit's not gonna appear. We're not saying like, "Oh, I want to do this," and then like one day it's just gonna appear. Like,
I became a hater on the whole subject when Dave Chappelle went and said like his whole stand up about the secret and how he clowns on you know, saying like, well, tell that to an Ethiopian kid who's dying of hunger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To visualize a roast beef sandwich, you know what I mean? Ever since that day, I remember that. I can't think of visualizing to make things happen. I can't take it serious no more. But that's Dave Chappelle's fault.
And this is exactly why, like, I've realized like how certain comedians, as funny as they are and as fucking so brilliant and intelligent they are, they're narcissistic. Not narcissistic. Cynical.
Well, they have to be. I think that's where the
funny comes from.
Funny comes from, yeah.
And the reason why they can't think the other way is because you will literally lose that funny.
Yeah.
Like if something happens to you, and you don't think of the most fucked up situation that thing could have happened or something like that, then you're not gonna be funny, you know.
Yeah.
And so like, I remember I used to worship, not like, you know, pray to him, but like George Carlin was the guy that, like, anytime something happened on Earth, it was like what would George Carlin do, kind of thing like that, you know, like, or like what would he say?
Funny guy, yeah.
That fool, to me, is fucking hilarious, bro, because he pretty much tells you how stupid you are and makes you laugh while telling you, you know, like, and so,
and you know he got you with 2 or 3 of those lines, you know.
Yeah, like within like the first, like, you know, and so, like, this guy was so intelligent, but at the same time he was cynical. Like, he was, you know, I don't know him in real life, but like a lot of times, like, what rubs off on a person who's not aware of these things that they're funny, you know, like me as a young adult, like coming up, like I thought that was like the word. It's like, man, yeah, I should look at life like that.
We're digressing a little bit, but you were saying that this
whole I can't digress, but you could digress all you want.
The visualization thing,
okay.
So
right.
What does that have to do? Like, why did you bring that up? Yeah, I want to know. I'm curious.
Because you said, you were like, so these substances are different from like doing, like, smoking weed, having sex, and things like that.
Oh, right. Yeah,
and so pretty much, like, there's something called manifestation, right? And indigenous cultures, they believed in certain medicines that helped them create these manifestations, or just like it was just prayers, pretty much, you know, like, in a sense, you know, like just praying and like wishing that everything would go well, you know, and things like this, you know, right? And just guide me, you know, like to the, and what the way this works is not like, again, it's not that it's just gonna happen for you. No, it's like, let's say right now, it's like I manifested me on a safe ride home, right? Like, okay, what does that entail, Eloy? Well, I just hope that I'm going to get there safe. Does that guarantee me a safe ride? No. But I think now I'm going to be more aware as to, like, the decisions I make while I'm driving. You know, maybe make sure to buckle up, you know. I'll use all my turn signals. Make sure that I stay in between the lanes.
So if that's true for manifestation, like, if that's your argument, then religion is doing something good when they ask people to pray for things, right? Yeah.
The thing is that the religion doesn't teach you that everything that they're telling you to believe in is already within you.
Yeah, they tell you that it's gonna be granted by some random fool.
Yeah. And so, like, right, the conversation.
And most people only, you know, this is something hilarious about religion, bro.
What's up?
And I'm sure you know this from experience as well, that most of the time people who are religious that pray, I could probably, if I were to put my finger on it, bro, 80% of people that pray probably pray for money. You know what I mean? Like,
they feel like that's going to fix all their problems.
Please, Jesus, cash me out today. I need to pay my rent. You know, please make sure that I get that stimmy check and blah, blah, blah. You know, people are praying for money. Why is that? Like, you go to a Buddhist temple today and they have a fucking money tree. in the middle of the fucking temple, like where people go to put money. It's like, yo, that's not what Buddha was about. Why is there a money tree in the middle of this fucking thing? You know what I mean? You go to a Christian church but where, you know what I mean? It's the same thing.
So the thing
they're passing around the little fucking basket.
At least with that, like, you know, it's a form of, well, like, okay, so let's say I was to build a space, you know, and all I was doing was just asking for donations so that people can come. And
wait, is this a thing? Is this gonna be a thing?
No.
I'm
definitely,
because that would be tight.
No, I'm definitely starting like a.
You could go tax free, bro.
Nah,
you could just say you're an organization of religious practice.
Next weekend, I'm starting. For the first time, I'm gonna hold ceremony with my mom, my sister, and my girlfriend, and 2 other friends. And so pretty much like this is something that's gonna launch me into like being able to serve medicine in the way it's been taught to me, and I'll go back to the manifestation thing right now, but oh shit, that was like
everybody always does that. I gotta get new stand thingies because they're fucking.
But yeah, so pretty much like eventually, like let's say I had created a huge space like this, right, and it was legal, but pretty much let's say I created a space like this, like now I'm not working. All I do is, you know, you come here and should I just call it like, hey, you have to pay this much, or this? It's not gonna be donation based, or like, what would it be? You know,
personally, I don't like disguises for language, so if it can be as more direct, the better. But the thing is, legally, of course, you could get into trouble by saying, you have to pay me this much to come and have this experience. Yes, you're gonna have to find legal workarounds. You're gonna have to say that they are donations, right? And there's going to be these things you're going to have to do just because that's the world that we live in. But it's the same thing. We had some guys here on talk about reptiles, and it's the same thing. Like, if you want to sell an animal on the internet, you can't say, oh, it's, I'll have it for sale, give me this much. No, you have to say, I'm evicting my animal, there's going to be a rehoming fee. You know what you know what I mean? Like, I can't just be like, yo, give me $50 for the lizard. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't say that. It's just not, you know, people frown upon that, even though it's the exact same identical action, but I have to mask my language in some kind of way just to make some people feel comfortable. Yeah. I feel like it's the same thing.
George Carlin used to talk about that all the time.
He did. He was a goat on that.
A whole bit on that.
So it's the same thing, right? Like, you want to say, I want to charge you this much to come have this experience with me. But you can't because that would be kind of illegal. So now you have to say, I accept donations.
Minimum.
Right?
Minimum.
With a minimum.
Nah, but yeah, so...
tell me more about this plan that you have for this experience thing. I want to know.
So I'll go... Let me talk about why I was like really set on manifestation, and then I didn't finish your thought.
Yeah, finish your thought.
So... The ayahuasca, all these other substances that are very like healing, you know. There's a few of them. You got mushrooms, ayahuasca, the bufo toad, combo. You have San Pedro, or also known as Huachuma. You have peyote, and those are the ones that I know about. As far as like what takes you higher and gives you a different experience, or even cacao, you know, like the 100% pure cacao, and how it's a heart opener. And it's like, what does it do for you? Like, how do you feel? You know, like, you honestly, you sit with it and you share it amongst people, like just like you're having tea. You know, it does something to you, it warms your heart, and you're able to just kind of. It's not really like you'll start tripping balls or nothing like that. It's all about like sitting with a drink to share ceremonially. You know, like just like how Japanese do with tea. You know, they sit, they do like a whole little thing. You know, and that's what something that here in America, like, we fucking just throw tradition out the window all the time, you know, like, and we forget about what it is and what these things mean, you know, and this is why, again, like, scientists won't explain to you. We just saw in Wiki, like, oh, you can make your own ayahuasca, you know, like, this is what science does, you know, that it wants to recreate shit to just put a little packet, you know. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that's a misrepresentation of science.
So it completely dissolves what's holding things sacred. It's something that you probably have no idea what it is until you've sat down with an elder or a guide or a shaman, you know, and him telling you like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And so you come, and there's a whole lot of seriousness, because just like any,
I just have to disagree, because science cannot just be said as, they're not just like an organization that, like you were saying, like. But
that's off the topic. Let me just finish this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll come back to it.
Because so holding things in sacredness is something very powerful for smoking weed, doing tobacco, like the pure tobacco and things like this. And they say that indigenous cultures, they held tobacco as a very strong source of manifestation. That when you passed around that peace pipe, you were saying like, you know, we're gonna have a good hunt tomorrow. You know, let's do this for that. You know, and this is the only time we're smoking. We're not gonna be out there fucking hunting shit. Let's smoke some more. Like, let me get another cigarette. Nah. And so, you know, something I just learned recently was like, yo, if that's the case, then like, what do you think about all these people smoking just cigarettes all the time? And if the tobacco is that strong, in manifesting something for you, so they can help you when you get that little rush, you know? What are you manifesting when you're smoking a cigarette? Damn, fuck my wife, fuck this stupid job, fucking kids. And you're just adding layers, bro. Like, and nobody has any idea that they're doing that to themselves, because it's been so normalized. It's been, you know, again, science has found a way to, because they were bought out by capitalists to fucking create a cigarette, you know, and just make it consumable. And
yeah. It wasn't that science created cigarettes. It was
but they ended up, you know, eventually they found.
But look, I can say from being an experienced tobacco smoker and having smoked all types of tobaccos that, you know, because tobacco was industrialized, that it became the terrible product that it is, which is the cigarette. But yes, it's true that if you go and you smoke normal tobacco, which I've done for many years, mm-hmm. that it's way different from smoking a cigarette. It doesn't have the same smell. It doesn't have the same effect, right? It's not as potent. It doesn't give you that same head rush. It gives you some of it, yeah, but not like a cigarette. You know what I mean? Right. There's a lot of things about regular tobacco that are great, and it's not as bad for your health. It's not linked to cancer or anything like this, right? Okay, I agree, right, that happened. But then if somebody, let's just say that somebody went and made a false claim. Let's just say that someone said today that smoking tobacco cures cancer, right? Or let's just say that somebody said that their aunt, who was an invalid, right, who couldn't walk, smoked tobacco, this particular tobacco, and that she could walk. And there was a guy out there selling tobacco, claiming that he solves everything, some magical tobacco shit, right? This is where we need science, because a guy needs to come in there and be like, yo, like, nah, that your tobacco is not doing none of that shit. You know what I mean? And somebody needs to come in there and correct those wrongs and those lies, because people lie. You know what I mean? Not everyone has the same good-heartedness to discover something and present it to you in all of its glory, right? No, people are gonna lie. So this is why I think that's really, you know, science is there to correct those wrongs. Like, some people will take that and lie, you know. Same thing. Some people may take ayahuasca and say that it does a million things. So right?
I really quick just to take this moment, because you've said something really, really powerful, you know, and now like that we're on the subject, we're bringing this here. It's called hape, and this is called a curipe.
Wait! Bring it up to the camera, so everyone can see it.
Okay, so this is a curipe. This is it's used by in many spaces of like ayahuasca, combo, and different medicines. This is a tool that's used to how do I say it? Pretty much, you know, self-medicate yourself, because another tool that's used is pretty much like a longer shoot, like a bamboo shoot, or
I've seen that one. Yeah.
And so shamans use this.
This is new to me. That I've never seen this.
Yeah, this is a self-applicator, you know. And so the way I'll show you how it works right now.
And what do you have over here? What is that?
This is called hape. This is a form of tobacco mixed with other plants.
Oh, sick.
And so
I've heard of this.
You don't smoke this. You don't want to smoke this. You actually, you pretty much, like, you take it to the head. You know what I'm saying? And I do this shit like that because I like to make people laugh. But to hold it in sacredness, you pretty much you blow it into your nostril.
Okay.
On both
so
nostrils.
You rip a fat line. We can't help but put our street talk on it, you know.
Yeah, I know, and you know what? I do this in those spaces too, and it's frowned upon, you know, to say shit like that, you know. But I'm still working on that like very funny side of me that like eventually wants not like take things serious because this is a sacred medicine, and it should be held as such. And again, like
this is that thing though, like the word sacred, it always catches me off guard like that.
Okay.
Cause like, you know, like sacred, like every time I hear this is sacred or that's sacred, it should be respected, and all these connotations come with the word sacred, right?
Like, what does that mean? Like, why do I gotta respect it?
Exactly. Yes. I want to know all these reasons. You know what I mean?
Do you look at a tree and think it should be respected?
Yes.
Same way.
I think a tree is sacred.
So pretty much. At least we like to believe because I'm not
See,
there.
Eloy you saw that? He just was like, yo, but a tree, nigga, is that sacred? And I was like, yes. And then we were like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, like, you know, we'd like to believe that the people who make this, you know, do hold it in sacredness. And so, like, we'd like to know, like, as far as we know and that they tell us is that, like, the tribes out there in the Amazons, they take these things and this is their life work, you know, like now, like this is what they do all day. Like they'll take medicine, you know, they heal tribes and they'll make it in large amounts to share with the world. And what they do is they'll say a prayer while they're making these things, you know, they're like pray, you know, like, you know, whether it's Icarus or things like that. And so to make this medicine, and that's why it's sacred because you're asking the earth, like, please, Pachamama, like, let me take what you are giving me and give it to the world, you know. So this is why it's sacred. It's like you're offering a prayer. You're asking from it. You're not just like there like tear all these trees down and we're gonna make a bunch of tobacco, or like all these plants and we're gonna make a bunch of tobacco, you know.
Yeah, it's like when the Native Americans killed an animal hunting, they would do a prayer after it died, you know,
and that food was sacred, you know, like
so that you don't look like an asshole if God were watching you, just fucking pillaging all the deer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For no reason. Yeah.
For no reason. Yeah.
So I'm
that
about
makes 100% sense.
I'm about to take some right now. This is a little jaguar. I don't know if you guys could see. Maybe is it focused? No.
It will though.
No. Anyway, it's kind of like.
Bring it back a little bit more right there. Yeah, that's good.
All right. I think somewhere like I don't know, but you can kind of see like the hole. That's like the teeth at the front. But anyway, you want to take a look at it?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. It looks cool.
It's pretty simply made. You know, some people just take it and they make, you know, they carve animals or they'll use like a form of wax to like make different designs. I don't know. There's so many different kinds. And I'm really new to this stuff, you know. Even my last ayahuasca ceremony, my guide actually doesn't like doing this.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
He thinks that it doesn't suit him, you know.
And I'll ask you more about your ayahuasca. I'll let you finish talking about this.
So what I'll do now is like, you know, what do we have? We have like an hour here so far, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna do like another hour. And so I'm just gonna. Hey,
let me get a hit though, bro. What's good?
So I'll show you how to take it. You know, I'm gonna pour a little. Let me wipe the sweat off my hands. I'm gonna just pour a little on my hand, so you guys can see there. And it's just a little amount. Like you don't want to do too much because it
does it hurt?
Yeah, it can if you do too much. You have any napkins? You're gonna want to blow your nose after this. So.
You keep on with the tutorial. I'll be back with some napkins.
All right, for sure. I'm gonna keep doing this. But I want you to be here so that when you're doing it.
Yeah. I'll be quick.
All right. So I'm gonna offer up a prayer, and like I said, just kind of like some kind of like a prayer or like a manifestation that I want to give to myself or to a deity, you know, things like this. And you just in your head you do it, you know. Smashing it down, then I'm gonna scoop it in through the long spout. So I'm smashing it, and I'm gonna scoop it in through the long spout. I'm gonna take half of it only of the amount I put in there. Again, taking it, and I think this is kind of a lot, low key. So I might react a little strongly to it. So they say that the left side of your body works on the feminine side, and the right side of your body works on the masculine side.
I'm left-handed.
So you want to do both hemispheres to ground yourself. And grounding is probably a word that you hear a lot, you know, ground yourself, or this is grounding, you know. And it really is. Like,
you already know what I'm going to
Yeah, and it really is because you kind of get a head change, you know, and it's, again, you're offering up a prayer to something you're about to do. And this is important if you smoke weed all the time, you know, like, what are you thinking about before, like, you're doing these things? Like, even sex, you know, you can offer up that sexual energy to something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm offering this moment here, this energy that it's about to give me to something. And what I want to do, this is very important because it's going to dictate how you react to it. So you want to just take a couple of breaths. When you're ready to blow it, this is how you're gonna take one deep breath, right? Hold it, just hold it. Don't let it out at all. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring this up to your mouth, right here, and this one inside your nose. I'm gonna blow it out. I'm blowing it out because I don't want to blow it into me.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And you're gonna hold it like this.
Oh wow, that's an interesting device.
Or vice versa. Oh, they kind of went inside because the fucking dust is so light, you know, it just travels. Anyway, the point is, once you hold that breath, you just literally you blow, like you put your lips around it and you just blow as hard as you can, and it will shoot up into your brain. And from this moment, I would ask that you just breathe deeply through your mouth, no longer through your nose, because what happens with you blow through your nose, you breathe through your nose, it's gonna want to travel the back of your throat, and then it's like that cinnamon challenge, you know, you just want to cough. Yeah. So after, then you want to breathe through only your mouth. Yeah, only through your mouth, and just hold it there, like, you know, like sit with it. It's gonna feel a rush. You're gonna feel like a rush, and so hape is used prior to ceremony so that you can manifest something within that ceremony, so that, you know, like, hey, I really want to tap into these energies, or tap into this memory, or tap into these things. Help me, and this releases anxiety. A lot of it just calms you down. It just brings you down to like a grounding state, and you want to do that because a lot of people are always nervous into going into these. I see. You know, that's interesting. Yeah. And so here we go. And as I'm breathing profoundly, I'm gathering up my next hit.
I can't help but laugh, even though this is spiritual. It's great. I love it.
Sometimes you tear up, you get boogers. For like a minute and a half, you want to just like breathe in through your mouth. And it really feels like that first hit of a cigarette you kind of took, where you're just like, whoa, let me sit down, you know.
Really?
You ever had that?
Yeah, that's happened to me. I went smoking cigarettes.
It can get to that point.
That's
so
crazy.
You're going to want some too, actually. I'll cut this in half. There you go.
And it just to be clear, it's a variety of herbs and spices, and nobody's
With
eating all
tobacco.
local in this fucking podcast. It's just mostly tobacco and
Yeah,
herbs
it's mostly,
and
and
spices.
this is totally legal, by the way.
Just because Jen is like making faces right there, like what are these fools? What are these fools doing? You know?
No. It's totally legal. Like this stuff is legal in the States. So like I said, you know, go ahead and take that, and then just pour like a little bit onto your palm. Maybe wipe the sweat off or something. I just took a little bit myself. Like the other day, I kind of took a pretty fat one, and and I was so scared to take another one because like, the other side because I had taken too much. You know, you should. This is a very soft blend.
And what are the other herbs and spices in here? What's going on in here?
You know, I can honestly not tell you that. It's like could probably be laced with like PCP or something, and we're about to. I'm just kidding, man. Let me see that.
I'm just curious.
That should be good. Yeah,
That's good. I'm gonna take some away because
okay.
I'm scared.
Nah, you're fine.
Okay, cool. So I'll put that
All right,
there.
so let me write this down.
All right, so I'm gonna take the device.
And you're gonna kind of just like scoop it up. I like to like
Which
the long one, the
With the
wooden
long
part.
one.
Yeah, you want to just scoop it like half of it. Yeah, just take half of whatever you have there. There you go.
that works pretty good.
And then once you're done, if you'd like, you know, offer up a prayer to yourself, you know, to a good life, whatever you'd
Sure.
like, you know.
Yeah, I could do that internally. And then after I've done that,
Take a few breaths. Remember, like the last one you hold it.
I'm a steps kind of guy, so I'm gonna take a few breaths, and then
You're gonna hold that last breath. Take a really deep breath and hold it.
and then I'm gonna poof into.
Yeah, you're gonna place it. Don't breathe while you're doing this because you might accidentally
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you as soon as you place it, your lips on one side, your lips on one end, the small end, and then the long stem inside your nose.
Right.
And then at that moment, just blow as hard as you can. All right.
Right, and then only breathe through my mouth.
Only breathe through your mouth.
Got it. I got it. All right, y'all ready?
So take your breaths. Through your mouth. Only through your mouth. Only through your mouth.
Yeah, thank God you told me to only breathe through my mouth.
Only, keep breathing. Sit with it. I see your eyes tearing up. What do you feel? It's okay if you want to take a while to like.
Smells a little bit like cinnamon.
Yeah.
Feels pretty awesome, actually.
Me and my partner actually, we're gonna come across a few of these. We're gonna take we're gonna get some from the Amazons and a few medicines to.
There's tobacco in here as well.
Yeah, that's the main ingredient. But they'll mix them with different things to strengthen them, you know, depending on what, like, just like crystals, you know, like, oh, this one does this and this one does that.
All right.
And you know what? I'm chuckling because Ricardo, as much as like we have different views on things, he is willing to try. You know, he's a scientist who would be willing to try. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I respect him for that because not everybody will just do that. Honestly, it looks kind of awkward, you know, because it's not normal to see this here. It's very hidden in certain parts, and this is with me coming on this podcast to share this. And whenever you're ready, just blow all that out. Yeah, because it will.
I'm leaving it in there so it can take full effect.
It will clear mucus, dude. Your sinuses will feel great after this, especially like after a powerful dose. Like, man, there's been times when like I throw up from how strong some of these doses are, man. Like, cause they'll make you like dizzy, and they make you sit back, you know.
Damn, that's a lot of stuff.
Another name for this.
Look at Jen laughing in the pot.
Another name for this is called shamanic snuff.
Shamanic snuff.
Yeah. And again, you guys, it's called it's pronounced jape. That's like a Portuguese word, I think, a Brazilian Portuguese word. Another form is called rape. It's spelled like rape, but it has the accent on the e.
Obviously.
Yeah, and it's jape or rape, you know. And yeah, it's very strong medicine. Like I said, it's meant to clear your head. You know, the indigenous people used to use it for the hunts or ceremonies and things like that, you know, just to get a clear vision of what you want in your life. Another form of this is called Sananga. Next time we do a podcast, I'm gonna bring that one too. And that one's an eye medicine. Sananga clears like mucus in the eyes and your whole face, like you feel like blood rushing up to your eyes.
That's crazy.
And it like takes effect immediately. Like they'll drop two drops in your eyes and your eyes will just start burning, like if you just put like chile in them, you know.
That's crazy.
And the whole idea is that you're sitting there and you're just breathing through it, because something they're like some of the words, you know, there's a lot of like terminology that we use, like something like surrendering is like just like don't try to fight the medicine, you know, just let it do what it has to. Surrender to it. Just like your problems, you know, sometimes there's nothing you can do about these things, you know. The more you fight it, the more it's going to push back. So
yeah, I see what you're saying. With this stuff, I think that you said that, or you used the word grounding, right? Mm-hmm. So I can say that if you were, like, for the layman's, for just speaking in normal terms, not spiritual words, if I were to say, you know, maybe you're too drunk, maybe you're too high, maybe you're too much of something, I think if you just took a hit of that stuff, it would sober you up. You know what I mean? I think so. Yeah, I think that it has particular effects that will bring you back to normal state.
Maybe I should take it to the next baby shower.
You know what I mean?
What about these?
Because
but I think I see what you're trying to say.
I can also smell like all the herbs. Still, I can still smell them now. Like all the aromas that are in the thing, I can smell all of them.
I would. How are you on dreams? Like, are you a dreamer?
I never dream ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens tonight.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not promising you anything, but I'm definitely not a dreamer. And if I am, I can never remember them. Or like the minute I wake up, I'm like, that was weird. Like I don't know what I was dreaming. You remember? You have feelings after you wake up in the morning. You're just like, dang, what was that? But then again,
maybe I just don't remember. People say that maybe you always dream, but maybe you don't always remember what you're dreaming, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so after working with this, like I can say that like my dreams are weird but extremely vivid, you know, like almost like I'm being told something, you know, like, hey, like you should sit with that. So if for instance you do and you are able to remember, write it down or just like tell it to yourself, you know, tell it to Jen and just be like, he always dreams liar or the end of the world. Yeah, maybe you might have one of those where the end of the world is a new beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now my dreams are going to become positive, enlightened dreams as opposed to.
I mean, let me tell you one of my dreams that I had.
Please.
So I have a group of friends, right? And just for the sake of not naming them, like her name is Patty. I have
okay, sure. Patty, he has a friend named Patty.
Yeah, and so Patty is a person who you know, is troubled with a lot of things, and they've reached out to me a few times, you know, for like, oh, like I want to try juicing, or I want to try this stuff, and you know, everyone has to go through their own trials. Like nobody can hold your hand the whole way, dude. Like it's all about discipline and how much are you willing to let go of to find something new, right? And so she's tried things with me, like, you know, whether juicing and things like that. And so I had this dream where like all these people that we're all like mutual friends, they came to me one day and they were just like, yo, Eloy, like Patty's sick, man, she's dying, like you have to help her. And I was like,
messed up dream.
Yeah, and I was like, and I told her about this actually. I told her I had a dream about her, and she actually told me that day she was like, "Yo, I've been having massive headaches recently, like bad, like to the point where I'm crying and stuff like that." She can't. And I was like, again, I already know what you have to do, but you know, it's like unless I'm not gonna waste my energy anymore to like sit there and help Patty anymore, you know. So my what I was going through in my dream was like I was like pretty much like I think I've told you guys like through the way I carry myself on Instagram and the things I do, like, you know, it's too late to help Patty. Like the only way to save her now is for all you to change first, and then she can see that, you know, we're all different. You know what I'm saying? And so like, you know, I had these conversations with these friends, you know, like, and it was almost like they weren't getting the message, you know, like, and I told you that I wanted to get into that too. It's like now these dreams, you know, I've always been a giver, man. Like I'm always there for friends, like, you know, like constantly doing shit for them. And sometimes like I didn't know that I was giving too much, and my passive aggressiveness would come in, you know, and be like, oh, they're not giving me the same love, or like expecting things in return, things like that. And so, for years I hung out with these people, you know, for years. And the minute I step back and I start to do something new, like, it's like there's no like, why are you doing that, Eloy? Like, don't do that. You know, there's nothing of that nature. But I notice now that it's like, well, I'm not being supported either, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I told you when I came in earlier, like the sticker that I'm making, you know, like I don't see any of my friends ever sharing my shit. You know, people who I've been there for, bro, emotionally, whatever, you know, like heard their shit, like they don't share like, oh, hey, look, check out my boys, like, you know, this, like he's working on that, working on this, or whatever. It's like, nah, like they rather share memes, things like this. And so it's like I don't feel like I should help these people anymore, you know, like I never should have in the first place. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I did so much for them, you know, like that's not the message I'm trying to get across. Is that like, I'm finally understanding that like there's a place in this world for me, and it's not to give people like my time when it's not going to be used correctly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro.
You were Captain Save-A-Hoing the whole time.
Yeah, I've always been that energy, bro.
And now you're coming to the conclusion that, you know, your own efforts are better put in places where they're gonna become fruitful. Right? Yeah.
Just yesterday, I was back at the old house, you know, and I don't think that everyone should just drop, hey, like, let's go hang out with him, you know. But it's like
the old house. It kind of explained.
Like, my house caught on fire
his house caught on fire, y'all.
Yeah, in November.
That's crazy.
And I've been staying in a really nice hotel in Manhattan Beach. Hey, it's really nice. I gotta go to the beach all the time whenever I do, you know. But
it's a crazy thing that happened. How did it happen? If you don't mind me asking.
There was an electrical fire of the old wiring, and it was, I don't know if you, man, it's too hard because I remember it obviously happened to me, and also I want to get into that. That's pretty crazy. Like, anyway, so it happened because maybe it was old wiring, maybe it was really windy that day. You know, wind goes inside attics and stuff like that.
But what is the meaning that you derive from it?
I mean, just you know, I'm happy to be alive, bro. Like, honestly, I was asleep there. And at first I was like, I'm fine, you know, everything's cool, you know, I'm alive, whatever. And then I had a thought, like maybe a week later, like where it kind of hit me, and I even teared up a few times, that I was like, yo, like if that neighbor wouldn't have came and saved me and knocked on the door and woke me up, like the ceiling would have, because it started in the attic, like the fire was in the attic only. I was like, that shit would have caved in on me, and then I would have probably been stuck in the house, you know, or something. Maybe I could have made it out alive with a few burns or something like that, but, like, who knows? And then just last week, somebody was like, nah, son, like, the fumes fuck you up first. And I didn't know this. Like, you know, it's like those fumes, they would have seeped in. The gases would have fucked you up before the fire got you, you know, all this shit.
Yeah, recently
and the guy
was watching a video of someone's house on fire, and the just the smoke inhalation.
Yeah, you know? the guy saved me. He literally woke me up from like seconds to death, bro. Like, cause what happened was that like he was banging on the door, right? He goes, the neighbors bangs on that door. Goes to the neighbors, bangs on that door. there was only one person in each of these houses, and we were all asleep. By the way, it was both my neighbors. Like they didn't come out to like one came out like an hour and a half later. It was like, what the fuck was all these fire departments working here out here, you know? And the other one too, but pretty much like this guy banged on my door so hard, and he like, and I just came to this realization last week. This has been 5 months since it happened, and they were like, these people were like, no, bro, like he literally woke you up from death, like a couple more minutes and more smoke, you would have been knocked out, you know, like. And eventually, you would have had no oxygen. Like, and he told me all about like this guy's really smart. You know, his name's Marty, but he was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, man, I already had like my realization with that I could have died, you know, a week later. But now I'm really realizing how fucking like what the situation was. You know, like I was thinking like, oh yeah, like the ceiling was gonna cave in on me, and I was gonna get hurt, you know, and die, you know. But it was a whole different. Like, nah, man, you could have just died from gases or, like, the smoke or whatever.
Yeah. House fires are no joke.
How are you feeling about... Oh, wait. Well, we also...
Oh, no. The portobellos have kicked in. Definitely.
It's just a little, like, warm feeling, huh? Like,
it's fine, you know? Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, you know... microdosing is a new popular thing, so I wanted to kind of get into that. But with your whole house catching on fire, it's such a crazy thing. And then with like your new spiritual ventures, you know, I'm not against. You should know that it's not that I'm against anything in particular, and it's not that I'm for anything in particular. Like I'm not a guy that plays in any type of team. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, what I don't like is team players. What I don't like is when a group of individuals get together. Like when I was growing up, I never liked closed groups of friends. You know, like everyone always was in a closed group of friends with like 5 best friends or whatever, right? And they would always hit each other up, and they had themselves in a group chat and all these things. And then I would come along, a rando guy, right? And I'd be like, hey, what's up, you guys? Like, are you guys going to go to this thing? Is it going to be so cool, right? And they would look at me like, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, I was always opposed to, like, closed groups of friends. I felt like it was a way for people that feel vulnerable to come together and fill in their gaps of vulnerability by bringing in other people, right? And making themselves feel comfortable and not really having to go beyond that group anymore. So it's like almost like a way to limit yourself.
Like a tribe.
Like a tribe. So, in a way, I was always against that. So my whole growing up was always just... You know, I want to be part of everything. I want to be involved in everything. So I was never for playing within team sports or I just never joined one camp or another. I was never a Democrat or a Republican, or I was never this or that. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like criticizing it all at the same time.
You're a troll.
Yeah, a troll, whatever you want to call it, a troll.
You're definitely a troll.
So because of that, you know, when... You know, this is why I'm critical, even with you, even though you're opening up and telling me all these things about these new experiences and your house burning down and this and that. You can be telling me your house, but I'm going to criticize it, you know? I'm going to be like, well, how did you know this? How did you know that? You know what I mean? Like this and that and that and this. Like, that's just my nature for some reason, you know? And it doesn't matter to me. And
yeah,
I know...
I saw a video when you were like 15, and it was like literally...
Exactly the same thing.
You were not any different, dude.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to, like, you know, people think that substances change you. Like, I do think that they can...
They enhance who you already are.
Who you already are. You can find realization. Like, you can learn new things about yourself and others.
And by that, like, they enhance who you already are. But at that moment, you are a duality. You are evil and you are good.
Yeah, we always have to know.
Yeah, you are two. You know, you're definitely two things. And I can go into my ayahuasca experience and literally explain to you like why I see that. Yeah. But
I was bringing it up because we've both ingested psilocybin and we're fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
but
there is such a thing as microdosing, right? Like people,
You want to talk about microdosing?
Yeah, so, people do this.
Like for instance, we're fully functional right now. You know, he can move his computer around. He's not like, what is this? Like, you would have taken a little more. It would have been like that. You would have been like, I can't touch this computer right now. You know, because nature does not like computers, and so once you ingest nature, it's gonna be like, yo, get off that shit, like, you know. So, but for
computers are nature, bro. What
I
are you
mean,
talking
yeah,
about?
we are.
Yes,
just an
bro.
extension of nature.
And one day, the only type of nature that's gonna exist is gonna be artificial intelligence that we
That's
create
scary.
and launch into space.
So
Once
scary.
all humanity. Have you seen that movie AI?
No.
No, you haven't seen it. It's like a remake of Pinocchio, but it turns out aliens.
I'm a real boy.
It turns out aliens are not aliens. Aliens are our artificial intelligence that we created before we went extinct. Isn't that crazy? That's so
like
true.
in Mars or something.
No, you just watch the movie. It's called AI. Artificial. I think that's all it's called. AI. Just watch it.
I'll watch it.
Trippy.
But yeah, so microdosing is used by most people to activate a sense of like, it's like kind of like that movie, the one that guy takes like the limitless pill, whatever, limitless.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. Yeah.
So in a sense, like, I mean, as far as with like conversations, like I can be more fluid with conversation. I can tap into my brain and remember certain things easier, you know. Will it make me faster? Probably not. You know, like maybe not. The thing
so
is
it's
that
definitely not an upper.
Well, it just depends on how the energy you're willing to exert from it. Like, some of my clients who microdose, they say that they take them when they're playing. They like to play with their kids on microdoses because they feel more agile, and that's very true. Like, try doing some kind of yoga pose, you know, or just like not even a yoga pose, but just sitting like in a meditation pose for more than like 5 minutes. Like, even me, dude, like I'm not really good at that, you know, and my back starts hurting. Like, I'm just like, I feel uncomfortable, you know. Yo, you take some mushrooms, it'll completely go away. Like, it makes you, it does something to you. Like,
Yeah,
it makes
I think
you
it definitely does.
more looser. You know, you don't feel as like, your shoulders drop a little bit.
I think that, you know, they say in Spanish, have you ever watched TV in Spanish? There's always like a thing on the bottom. Maybe I'll even put it up. There's always a thing in the bottom that says like, todo con medida, nada sin exceso. Have you seen it? No. It's at the bottom of every commercial in Mexico. It's actually really good that they do that because it's telling people don't abuse whatever it is we're advertising,
but
whether it's cigarettes.
I don't know why. I don't know why they don't. The thing is, the reason why they put it in such small words is because they do want you to abuse it. Because if you didn't abuse it, like, you wouldn't buy so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's like when they put the image of the bad lungs in the cigarette box. People are still gonna buy it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to people. But here, look, like literally, we're not gonna be able to pull it up. But in every commercial, there's always that saying, right? Mm. So I think about what that means and think about what it means for the way that we ingest substances. Not everything has to be to the max power. You know what I mean? Like,
not always.
Imagine if people were more progressive about how they ingested even alcohol. How many people die every year of just alcohol? You know what I mean? Like, what are like
poison
deaths by alcohol? Let's see.
Death from COVID.
That's, of course, the number one searched. Look, 95,000 deaths every year. And
in just the States?
In just the States. And
why don't they just ban alcohol and then nobody will die anymore?
And people die an average of 29 years shorter. You'll shorten your life by 30 years just by drinking alcohol.
From liver poisoning and shit like that.
This is incredible. And that's not even counting, like, bad decision making and destroying your life with alcohol and destroying other people's life with alcohol and becoming physically dependent.
Hopefully, if alcohol is the only problem, like, you know, because most alcoholics take on other things.
When is alcohol its best? You know when? When you only drink one beer or two.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when alcohol is its best. Why? Because when you only drink one beer or two, you feel a little bit buzzed. You're hanging out with your boys. You're having a good time. Everything's great. You're not going to get a hangover. You know? Why do you need more than that? You don't. Anything beyond that is just beating on a dead horse. Like, nothing's going to come from that. You know what I mean? And in a way, a lot of these other things, I think, could be thought of in a similar way. We still don't know what a dose is for psilocybin, what a dose is for we don't know.
I do.
I mean, you do, but what I mean is like a dose for what? Depends what you're trying to do, right?
Well, I mean, look, just take this chocolate for instance, right? I put a certain amount of mushrooms in here, right? And
it's very well measured, by the way, because we're
what I tell people is usually sometimes it's broken up into 10. This particular mode it was 5, But if it was a 10-piece mold, what I would tell people would be like, I'll be like 1 piece. 1 piece to 2 pieces, like it's you and your friends. You guys are talking, laughing at the beach, whatever. People are walking by, you're not getting nervous. Everything's fine, You take more than 2 pieces. Now you're stepping into a territory where like maybe you want to not be around so many people, and like you want some time to like just be able to like tilt your head back and like you want to be somewhere safe, things like that. And the whole bar is like, yo, do you want to meet God today? Like, and I'm being very serious with that. Like, you will fly into space. Like, you will get into that spaceship, and it will take you there.
That's incredible.
And honestly, like, something that about ceremony that I've learned is like, if you're doing mushrooms, like Rick and I right now, we're eating it recreationally. I like to do it like this. I like a microdose in this sense because it loosens me up. It allows me to talk about it easily. I can talk about it so passionately, even more when I'm on mushrooms. In fact, when I'm at events and I'm selling these chocolates, I make sure to take some so that the energy I'm giving off is like, yo, I'm not a fucking creepy guy in a sarape. Like. I'm just like, hey guys, what's up? Like, my name is Eloy. I like to share medicine, things like that. Like, I have these beautiful chocolates that I hand make myself, things like. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, like, I feel the vibes, like.
Not like, hey, I got some shrooms.
Yeah, hey, shrooms. Hey, you want some weed? Like, that's some like grimy, I don't like that. Like, there's dudes at Venice for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, again. I still respect it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and take a bar with you and try to be like, like, nah, dude, I would go home, I would sleep, and I would lay in my bed and just think
let's
about
talk
life.
about, like, we see, obviously, deaths by alcohol, but what about, like, deaths by psilocybin? In case people are curious. Like, do you know what the...
Is there a max you could take? I've taken 4 grams max.
This is where the science comes in.
That was pretty.
Like, I want to know, has anyone ever died doing psilocybin? Because what I heard is that nobody has ever died.
You could probably die, if you like get behind a wheel of a car or something like.
No, I mean just from the actual ingesting the actual. No, right? No one has ever
just
died
like
from
weed,
that. Just like marijuana.
You can have a psychotic break. Like, and I'm not trying to scare you guys. Like, oh no, like no, like you could potentially have as recently we were at this like Kundalini yoga class, and this
basically no one can die. This is what this is saying. Yeah.
So there was this guru who was like, yeah, these things should be taken with moderation. Start off slow, things like that. Introduce it to you, not just be like, here, take a fucking 8 of shrooms and see what happens. Like, no, man, like. Injecting, that's see what I mean. See what science does. Look at what science does.
Man nearly dies.
That was 2 months ago
after injecting magic mushroom tea into his vein. Oh my god, this gotta be the funniest shit I've ever read.
You haven't even read the whole thing. We'll go, all right,
nearly dies.
Let's go through it.
An unidentified man has survived a near-death experience after injecting himself with a self-made magic mushroom tea. The case, published in the journal, is reported that the man injected himself with the tea hoping to cure his bipolar disorder. Fuck me. So first of all, when you have psilocybin, the mushroom, it's a fucking mushroom. You know what I mean? It's an agent of the fucking genus of shrooms. Like, the same as any other type of fungus. So obviously,
I'll do something for you.
Yeah, you can eat mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
But what happens if you introduce a mushroom directly to your bloodstream? Well, it's gonna be a poison to your body. It's like it's a fungus. You just gave yourself a fungal infection, literally, to your bloodstream directly. You know what I mean? You're supposed to eat it so that your body can break it down, right, and then ingest the psychoactive chemicals in the process, not inject it. You technically, yes, you will still get high if you inject it, probably really high, but you will also potentially die. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this is ridiculous. This guy is out of his fucking mind.
I lost my train of thought. I was trying to.
This is just it's just hilarious, bro. To be honest, but okay, so you can't die from actually using psilocybin, but you can from being an idiot like this and injecting it into you. Yeah, that's what I was trying to. You know what I mean? And yes, you can if you're not responsible, but you have to be responsible with every other substance, right? Like, you're not gonna drink and drive, right? People drink and drive all day long. And these people that drink and drive are going to try and tell you that psilocybin's bad or it's woo-woo or it's this or that. You know what I mean?
And every day, like, I there's so many coworkers of mine that, like, they see what I'm doing and I'm like, hey, man, like, you should try this. Nah, it's not for me. It's not for me. And I'm like, yeah, but you could fucking stick that white shit up your nose, right, all the time. And then it's just like, nah, yeah, but I know how to handle that. And I'm just like, it's going to make me go crazy. He's going to make me do this. And like, the reason I said, like, a psychotic break is because you can ingest too much to a point where we'll say a psychotic break because it's not, like, you don't necessarily come back. Hopefully you come back from that experience, you know. But pretty much when you take too much of something, it could be like a huge dose of wax, you know. You see it in videos all the time where, like, these teenagers are recording their friend and just like, take me to the hospital, man. I can't. I'm fucking dying. You know, and it's like, yo, you shouldn't be able to do that. Like that was not natural. Like that form of was not natural. And mushrooms, although it is natural, like to take some of that, you know, like there should be a limit to how much you can take.
If let's say that you were a hairless ape, right? Running through the forest, eating magic mushrooms. You won't be able to eat that many because good luck finding that many. You know what I mean? This is kind of a rare occurrence.
Well, they used to grow huge sometimes, like in well, they do.
So what I mean is it's hard for people to ingest too much of it. Is what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. So essentially, and I'll continue on talking without Eloy here. Essentially, we're talking about the use, the rate at which people use substances, and the new microdosing, and psilocybin in general being pretty risk-free compared to alcohol, and, you know, tobacco and other substances that can be far more harmful to you than helpful, and yet people for some reason accept these substances as normal, right? And don't accept these new substances. They have a negative connotation to them, just for whatever reason. But we can see here that just by looking it up, that there is really no reason not to, like, as far as safety goes, they are safer than alcohol and tobacco and other commonly used substances. What about compared to marijuana? We were just talking about how it can make you have a psychotic break, so we can talk about psychosis in marijuana, because this is something that does happen as well. People ingest too much marijuana and it leads, you know, to cannabis-induced psychosis. But also, it could be a problem of maybe you have underlying conditions that you should be careful with. You know, how do you know that you're not borderline schizophrenic or, you know, borderline dual personality, and that ingesting these substances, you have to be careful because you may not come back from it fully 100%. So I think in how we describe doing too much marijuana and doing too much psilocybin is exactly the same. Cannabis-induced psychosis, a review. So yes, there's a risk to everything, you know, but the whole key is moderation, which is why this microdosing thing is really cool. So what do we know about microdosing? Here is an article about why microdosing is touted by shroomers and Reddit users, science is starting to test their claims and finding some truth. Okay, so let's see what is science finding. So people are taking weekly microdoses, right? Their claims are that it sharpens all the senses, as if the frequencies of all your atoms and energy fields are raised a little bit and being slightly more conscious. Is what somebody's particular experience is with microdosing psilocybin.
What are you talking about?
Microdosing psilocybin, and I was just saying, like marijuana, people can do too much of anything, right? So obviously, if you have pre-existing conditions where you may be schizophrenic or you may be psychotic,
you were looking into that.
You probably shouldn't ingest these substances, right? But with everything, you should already know that, and you should probably not participate in this behavior.
There's a story I heard, or some kind of like old tale, or I can't remember, but pretty much that people of that nature, schizophrenia, mediums, and things like this, they were actually taken apart from the tribe to like learn medicine, because they believe that these people could tap into energies that normal people couldn't. Obviously, like you had your hunters, you had your gatherers, you had your medicine people and things like that, and a lot of times certain people that would see things, or like they were taken apart from the tribe to train them to like be able to hold medicine, because not everybody was probably taking medicine, but the people who were actually like speaking, like taking it further and things like that, like they used to use medicine for so many things, healing, to bring people back, to ground them to the tribe and be like, hey man, don't forget you are one with us, like don't forget you are part of this earth, stop trying to, like, sometimes people's egos need to get checked and things like that. But yeah, anyway, so I brought it up about the psychotic breaks because, like, in this society, at this moment, there's not really anywhere where you can go and get trained. You can, but you would have to find that on your own first. So like, it could potentially lead to enhancing those things already. And, and I have no idea what that world is like. I mean, take it with precaution, if you're just scared at the end of the day, like I at this moment, I don't have an answer, like that one, I don't like.
And what about microdosing?
For people like that, or just in general?
No, just in general, are there risks, even for, let's say you didn't know you were schizophrenic or
I have no idea,
or borderline, anything, So this whole article is supposed to be kind of hilarious. This is kind of funny because look at the title. Microdosing is touted by shroomers, but science is starting to test their claims and finding some truth. So you see, this article is framed in the exact same way that me and you have been arguing the whole time. You know what I mean? It's literally what we were saying.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
I can see why you have an animosity against the whole science versus spirituality.
Just fucking
thing.
try it. Why didn't scientists tried mushrooms for the first time and they now see what the fuck everybody else is talking about?
Now this is the thing.
How about that?
I do think that Albert Einstein had been taking shrooms. Dude. There's no other way he would have discovered E=mc². You know what I mean?
You have so many mixtures, bro.
But you know what? Okay, so look. Oh, look. What did I say? That they were going to use words like anecdotal and this and that, right?
Where?
So, yes, I was just skimming through this. And
Jacobien van der Wegen takes 1 psilocybin microdose every 3 days with bi-monthly breaks to work more focused and more efficiently and be more creative at his marketing job in the Netherlands, he said. He also helps run an online community for microdosing. On the downside, I would often feel that the inspiration was still there at night, and I would keep working on projects until late. So it was somewhat more difficult to maintain a healthy biorhythm. Okay, so yeah, so like if you want like perfect sleep, but that's because you're trying to integrate something natural to help you run a business, or like help you with your regular job. And I don't think, like, when I do microdosing, it's not so that it can make me a better welder. Like, no, I do it because I want to dive deeper. I want to learn music more. Like, I've written 2 songs about medicine recently, like that they just came from me, you know. It's just like I was just there. I was on mushrooms, and I was singing, I was playing, and then eventually I was like, yo, that's a fucking song right there. Like, I'm gonna record that a little bit, you know. And I'm here to play for you today. No, I'm kidding. No, it's literally like, you know, I'm not the best singer, I'm not the best guitar player, but these are things that I like that came out of my heart, like from experience.
No, if you want to throw them some tunes, go ahead, bro.
But, I mean,
but you don't have to. Nah, no pressure. No pressure.
I'll play one.
You play one, really?
Yeah.
Hey, hold up. We got Eloy's about to play.
I'll probably
track.
do like half of it because I don't even know the lyrics to my own song. Hello.
It just came to you, remember?
It's almost tuned. Just give me like a minute.
That's too long, my guy.
A minute. Talk about some.
Here, let's let old boy tune. I just want to hear these tracks. I'm curious.
All right. And I'll probably improvise on the lyrics because honestly, I'm telling you, I don't even remember these things. All right.
Here, let me give you another mic so that the guitar sounds crisp.
Does it sound like that? Oh, nice. So this one for the.
That one's for you.
Okay. You want to put that one on the chair?
Yeah.
Ding dong ding. You came to me. You climbed the mountain. You saw the sea, and you crossed it. You let the wind carry you. And when you saw flames, you jumped in. A rose you did, my child. You came to me anew. Now you're here, sharing light and shining bright, just like stars. The breakdown. Thank you, Mother Aya. Thank you for rescuing me. You pulled me out of darkness. You let my eyes fully see. And now I'm here, sharing light. I know you'll be proud of me. Forgive us, for we not know the pain that we caused to thee. Aho, Amaya. Thank you, my deity. Yeah, that song's called A Conversation with Mama. Because it's about ayahuasca and, like, it pretty much, like...
That's rad, bro. Honestly, we needed that. We needed that in a break in the podcast. And it's always nice to hear some tunes. You know what I mean? I just like music. Sometimes it's better than words.
Yo, I was looking at this it's a toad you have.
Oh, you found my toad?
Yeah, so I'm sure you've heard of the bufo toad,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, bufo, yes. Bufo
Which is, it's like literally, I know where to do it now, like, if I wanted to, and it's kind of scary to me. Even that's too much for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a sense of, like, how far people willing to go to find themselves, you know, and like I said, like, you don't need things, you know, to find yourself, but if it helps, it can definitely get you there, you know, where you need to be faster, tap in quicker, and things like that. And the bufo frog is from Sonora, Mexico, and man, this thing is like, I keep hearing so many crazy stories about it. You know, it's so much stronger than just regular DMT. It's 5-MeO.
Yeah, people keep this frog in the herp world, like, because, you know, I'm into keeping animals and stuff. And I had some guys in podcasts a few episodes ago, and they keep animals, but it's popular actually to keep it as a pet. So I think
that toad,
the Bufo alvarius, I believe, is the genus for it. But people keep
so they can make their own.
So they can make their own. Yes, that's exactly why they keep it, because, you know, you can extract its venom from its glands.
Yeah.
You know, once in a while, and it doesn't harm the toad in any kind of way. And it's better to do it that way than to go out in the wild and to fuck with the native species of frogs that are there, because you're depleting their population. They're already kind of like...
They don't kill them, though.
They're almost extinct already as an animal. They don't kill them, but to go and, like, manhandle these animals in the wild, it does put a certain strain on their population, and it makes them, you know, it starts to make them more and more, like, not afraid of humans. So I think for those purposes, it would be better if we bred our own captive bred version of the toad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
people don't have to go in the wild and get it. I understand that there's, like, the medicinal, like, or the spiritual aspect of going to find the toad, and, you know, but think about it. If everybody wanted to do, you know, the toad, and everyone went to the same spot to do it, it's going to get out of hand pretty quick. You know what I mean? So in that respect, I think it'd probably be better if we did a whole captive bred project just for Bufo. But yes, I've never tried it. I don't know what it's like. You know, I have no idea what the toad is about. People like Mike Tyson on his podcast go on for days about Bufo alvarius and how it's supposed to be like such a crazy thing.
Yeah, look at Mike Tyson. He's alive and well, and he's not out of this world.
He's not out of this world. I mean, he's a little bit out of this world because he's so crazy, you know. I don't worry.
That was him prior to
I know, right? He was a worse individual previous to him experiencing all these things.
Yeah, he talks about how his ego pretty much, like, was too high, and you know, that's why he stopped fighting, because he realized, like, I don't want it to take over anymore. And dude, like, I wish I can, like, tell you guys my experience in Aya, dude, but, like, Bufo and Aya are, as I've been told, they're totally different. Bufo is, like, kind of like the portal or, like, the spaceship that just immediately gets you to see God, you know?
Yeah.
Versus, like, Aya is, like, all feeling. It's all, like, it's a slow ride. It's, like, kind of taking, like, a small, like, paddle. What's the paddle? Like a paddle boat? Like a canoe into a portal, you know? And And once you're, like, in that portal, it's, like, you're still riding on a canoe, you know? It's very light. There's sometimes there's turbulence, you know? Like, maybe, like, strong winds or something like that. But with the Bufo, it's just, like, whoosh, bam, and then you're just like, they're like, holy shit, you know, like, in your head, you know, you're not.
And this is gonna be completely different from psilocybin or anything else, because
anytime you try any of these medicines, never go into them thinking you're going to feel something like, oh, is it like that or is it like this? No, man, it's just literally, that's why there's the word surrender, you know, like, forget everything you know about it. Like, don't think that, you know, this is going to be like mushrooms or that's going to be like acid. Like, stop trying to compare things. Like, we're constantly trying to fucking, you know, tie things together. Oh, it's like that, you know, like,
Yeah.
just like, hey man, if you trust the person who's about to give it to you, just trust that they're not giving you poison, you know, like, and best of luck, you know, and
But and in
and
effect,
all these people.
in essence, like thinking about like what the actual substance is, it is a more potent version of DMT, right? Like in a way, like
The
like,
bufo?
Like all right, so
Yeah.
does the active ingredient, it has a similar active ingredient as ayahuasca, right? It is dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah.
It's the naturally occurring substance that's in both, right? I'm right to assume that? Yes. But yes, we got some people in the chat talking about different ways of synthesizing bufo or DMT and how people can make it themselves and all this other informational stuff. Somebody's already comparing it to Hamilton's something pharmacopoeia. See, I told you. He's my Hamilton pharmacopoeia.
I'm not gonna do bufo though.
Nah, no?
Nah.
You wouldn't try it?
Maybe. I don't know. It just depends. Like I wouldn't want to be still working at where I am right now. Dude, this guy at work did DMT the other day. He wanted to talk to me like in the shop floor about it. Like, yo man, you don't fucking do DMT on the weekend and come back to work, bro. You fucking take a week or two off, bro. Like like you don't do that. Like, you know, my first ayahuasca trip, I took a whole week and a half off, man. I was like, I'm taking a whole week and a half. And like I realized at the moment, it's like there was a moment where I was like, I need to quit my job. You know, I don't need to be here. Like, I need to find a way to make a life through something else. Like, because
there's a new movie called Soul that Jobby and Jen suggested to me.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, and there's a point in the movie where there's a guy, and he's alive, and he's at his desk, and he's at work, and he's like just typing away, but he's dead. His soul is already going to heaven, like, but then, like, they return him back to his body, right? They're like, no, okay, go back to your body. So he goes back into his body. When he pops in, he's like, fuck all this, and he just starts smashing everything. And he just like takes off. So like that was like him finding his soul. Like he had like a revelation, right?
Yeah.
Where like, oh, I found my soul. Like, so.
I think I remember that. It was like these like lost souls that are already pretty much like their souls are pretty much already like.
They're
purgatory.
Alive. They're alive, but they're not. Yes.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy movie to compare like this whole conversation.
Have you seen the movie? It's with Will Ferrell and Jake Gyllenhaal's sister. It's called like fuck. It's about him like being a character in someone's narrating his life.
I haven't seen that.
Okay,
no.
So I can't remember what the name of the movie is, but pretty much like this guy is he works for the IRS.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen it. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he's
I've seen it. Yeah, where
but
everything he does is narrated by some person as if his life were a book, kind of thing.
Yeah. And but like if you think about it, he doesn't go through a trip. He actually has a near death experience when he gets run over by the bus. You know, like at the end, like towards the end. But even before that, he's already making steps towards like a new life because he realizes how mundane his everyday life is. You know.
So, do you think that that's a risk that could be assimilated with like doing some of these substances? Like, is it safe to say that you may not be the same person
100%,
after ingesting these substances?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you feel that it's changed you dramatically?
Yeah, and I know how to like go into my job. Like the other day, like, you know, I know how to go into my job and assimilate myself there. You know, I'm still, it's not like it's gonna make you forget anything. It's just gonna put something inside of you and then make you realize something and be like, you either have to like step out and like, this is why I'm doing the chocolates. I want to do things where I don't have to depend on my job anymore. You know, like I want to be able to do something that I like and work with this stuff, you know, and be able to create a life without having to depend on my job, you know, eventually. But the other day, somebody, like, he got so tired of me talking, you know, he was like, oh, if you're so fucking woke, why are you still working here? And I was like, I think there's just, like, levels of it, you know, like nobody is completely woke unless they're, like, in the middle of the forest, you know, and all they do is like live off the land. But it's like you're not even allowed to do that because you have to pay for that little spot of land you're living in, you know, like.
Or else it's ghost camping. and it's illegal.
Yeah, it's fucked up. You know, you can't even be a free human in this damn country, man. Like, but yeah, man. Like
it goes down a rabbit hole of like a lot of things that like whenever somebody makes these grand claims, they always want to say like, well, where are your fruits of your labor, right? Like, if everything that you're doing works so great, then where are your fruits of your labor? It's like when I go on YouTube and I watch a video of a dude saying, how to get 1 million subscribers in 2 days, but he only got like 20. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, why am I listening to this dude talk about, like, so I can understand why people will have, what's the word? Like, they don't see the change that has happened to you dramatically because they don't see life through your eyes. So the problem with substances is that they're subjective, right? Like, they have to do with you and your subject and how you view the world. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult to take those experiences and give them to someone for them to see them. You know what I mean? So they don't see what you see, so therefore it's invalid. So it doesn't count to them, right? So you could be telling them about XYZ, and then they're just sitting there like, yeah, but you're still here at work with me, so what does it matter? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And at the same time, we do need to have some fruits for our labor at the same time, right? Like you were saying, you want to do the thing with the, like, you want to turn into your main thing, basically, is what you're saying, right? Yeah, you don't want to rely on a capitalistic society to give you
especially what I do, bro. It's like I'm a living dichotomy right now. Like, I fucking literally work for a company that creates death machines, you know, and I'm over here speaking about having life. Like, it's like being vegan and then, you know, kind of betraying your veganism by participating in things that lead to animals dying. Yeah, and that's why I really say I say vegan just because I don't want to like get into a whole thing with people who I just don't care about explaining anymore. But
so they're asking.
In reality, I'm plant based.
So you're wanting. So what's your main business? Because this is some good questions right here by Technologic. I want to know. You know, obviously you want to live off of your main business or hustle, right? And that you want to make that your thing. But what is it? Like, what is your plan for that? Is it gonna be the chocolates? What's your avenue, your venture? What is it?
So honestly, right now it's just things that I'm creating things. Like, I recently made some copper bracelets like this, like simple little shit, you know, like just things that I can supplement myself off to live like a very basic life. Like, I'm not trying to what is success, right? Like, what do we view as success? Like, where it's if I have food, roof, and I'm able to like you know, live comfortably, like that's a success to me. Like, I don't need to be rolling in a Lamborghini or things like that, you know, to feel successful. Exactly, it's how you define it. And so like there's things, you know, like my girl, she does like bracelets and jewelry and things like that, and like there's a whole world for that, you know, where you can basically hustle your ass off, like sell crystals, things like that, you know, and make exactly wealth is not always a number. In fact, like we're both like plant-based people, my partner and I, and we find that like it's easier to live healthily and comfortably when you're doing those things. Like, we're not like rolling in the, you know, in money, but like we have each other and we like what we do, and I like that's why I eventually I want to be able to leave that, you know, leave that whole world, but it's hard, dude, right now, you know, like.
So let's agree.
Oh, but by the way, so it's this stuff, you know, little things here and there. Like I'm making some copper ankhs. You know what the ankh is?
Yeah, I know what the ankh is.
You saw the ones that I made recently?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm making those. We're gonna just attach some like crystals to those, and also like, you know, just sell the meaning behind it and bring it back to what give people back the power through health, through symbolism, through medicine, you know, just be like, yo, you are able to take control of your own life, you know.
Let's be real 100%, and let's remember that at the end of the day, if you want to participate in society, the reason that you're doing this, right? Okay, you want to move away from your everyday job You want to move away from capitalistic society. But at the end of the day, whether it's your side hustle or that you want to make your main hustle or whatever, you're still participating in that capitalistic
100%.
society because you're still engaging, right, with people, whether it is whatever product you're deciding to make or whatever this thing may be. You're still having to play that game. You know what I mean? It's almost inevitable. Like, there's no way to run away from it. Like, this realization is one that it takes I feel like it's just such a tricky one, you know? Because, like, yes, you want a life devoid of all of those negative aspects, right? But trying to reach that is quite literally almost impossible because people have made it so. There's a cap. You know what I mean? Somebody put a cap on us. It's right there. You know what I mean? We can see it. We feel it. You know what I mean? We want to be free, but we can't. You know? But realizing that is important because then I think that's how we start figuring out ways around it, right? Like what you're trying to do. Like, as little as possible is better than being full on an asshole and going to Walmart and buying all the toilet paper during the pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a booty move.
Yeah.
At least you're not doing that.
Who is this guy?
You know.
You don't know him?
No, he's always checking into the podcast though. He's
cool.
He's a cool commentator. I think he's one of John's
Everyone's
friends.
energies, things differently.
Exactly. So when we talk about these limitations, you know, when we talk about what it is that you're doing, we can never forget that there are two parts of the same whole.
I do. It's the yoke. The Bible calls it the yoke, or the yoke.
The yoke, essentially, the threshold, the thing that keeps everything, you know, because what I'm trying to say is that everything's a balance, you know. Yeah. We can't go too far in one direction and too far in the other direction. We can't become too mechanical, and we can't become like too much about rigidness and what is here and what is now and matter. And we can't become too spiritual where everything is devoid of meaning and everything is too abstract and nothing becomes reality. You know what I mean? Meaning in the middle, I think, is the best place, at least for me, you know. And in essence, the only thing I'm trying to say here really is that, like, sometimes it takes somebody like you to explore these realms, right? To look at these things and say, okay, I understand now what these things are going to help others. I'm going to bring awareness to this thing because it lacks awareness, right? And it really does. Nobody gives a fuck about any of this stuff, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, if you made it a new cool thing, I think it'd be really cool, you know? And if you introduce more people to it, and if you had a product, if you had a branding to it, you know, like a here's this, you know, but you're still going to have to go on Instagram. You're still going to have to make a page. You're still going to have to put your thing in there. You're still going to have to upload pictures. You're still going to have to participate in the society, you know what I mean?
And I'm not saying like I never said I want to get away from that. I just don't want to work for a company that does that, you know, that literally
what is it that you're against that you do there? Yeah.
I weld cooling systems and things that integrate into airplane parts, F-150s, like, you know, like
yeah,
like
so just
fucking bomber planes, bro. Like they kill little kids like across the fucking planet, you know. It sucks. Like, yeah, I just not think about it because like I realized I left a job that I actually really really liked and I believed in because all they did was like furniture, you know. They did metal frames and slapped some wood on it, and it was a really nice table or like, you know, chandeliers and shit like that. Like, that was cool. It was a lot of hard work. The only thing was it was far as fuck, and like it paid really really good. I just worked hella hours, you know. Like, maybe if I go back, like I would be like, hey, I'm only working Monday through Friday, you know.
Well, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that have metal fabrication specific jobs, you know, like you can have your own metal fabrication.
And that's another thing too.
Place,
so I'm actually with the Onks, like that's a good place to start, you know. Just be like, I'm gonna make them, put them online, you know, sell them for like a certain price, you know. And I'm gonna buy a TIG machine. It's literally buying some like non-expensive materials and putting it together. Like, I just need a table, I need a freaking outlet, I need a place to do it. Like, and you know, right now, as we're getting the house back, like I'm already starting to vision it. Like, okay, this is gonna be like after I get off work, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna work on this, and then I'm gonna define, you know, make it so, and then sell them for this much, you know. Like,
that's rad.
And
yeah,
so
and it starts with one little thing.
yeah,
It could grow into a million.
and right now I have my chocolates. Like my chocolates pay for my experiences. Like I barter my chocolates all the time. Like I already use bartering system. Like somebody's like, "Oh, I'll make salsas. Hey, you like mushroom chocolate? You like you like mushrooms? Oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I'll trade you a chocolate for 2 salsas. What's up, bro?" And then like, I already do that. It's not that like a lot of times it's not like you have to like think about what your plan is. It's just like literally stepping into that water and just trying shit. Like, and that's
but at the same time, remembering that we still live in a world where economics are a way that things happen. So I just think it would be rad to see you have a metal fabrication shop, TBH. I would go to you to make all kinds of cool ass stuff. You already know. I'll be like, "Hey, Eloy, make me this bike rack thing." "Hey, Eloy, weld me together this frame I need for XYZ." You know what I mean? I would be your number one customer. I'd be like, "Hey, Eloy, weld me this, weld me that." And, you're talking about a place that employed you, that made furniture and made chandeliers and made tables.
And I felt good about it.
You could make tables and chandeliers and furniture. You know what I mean?
Easily. I just need
You could easily do that, and you could just have a space to do it. And you know what I mean? I feel like that would be such a dope thing, like Eloy's Fabrications or something like this, And, you already got the skill. You already got the hands for it. You might as well. And then, you can put a little spiritual spin on it. Actually, there was a place up north that I visited one time. Maybe you remember, or maybe I told you about it, but it was in Oakland, and it was like a cooperative space with containers and stuff, and there was a lot of guys that did a lot of work in there. I went in there to buy speakers from some random dude like on the internet.
Was it next to the bar?
No, it wasn't next to the bar. But this spot was like...
It wasn't called like the church or something like that?
No, it wasn't called nothing like that. There's a lot of co-ops out there, to me, TBH. But there's one of these cool spots.
I love the Bay
and there was a guy
Area.
there, bro, and he did exactly that. He welded together furniture.
Wait, it wasn't called Place?
No. He welded together all kinds of stuff, and he made all kinds of cool stuff. And he sold it, and he auctioned it off. Or he would put it on eBay, auction it, or he would... That's
pretty cool. Like the guy who makes like people who auction shit off, like they make one badass piece. They have all these followers. Oh, I want that one. I want like here goes auction it off, bro. Like
you could be that guy, bro. You could put a spiritual spin on your work. It doesn't all have to be so rigid and stuff. You could be that guy.
I like this guy. What does he say now?
Let's see. He agrees with me, bro. You can do a lot with metal fabrication. See, he's agreeing with me, bro. Come on, you can make all cool ass artistic
things.
And
other weird metals and adds all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, it can be artistic. It doesn't have to be functional. You know what I mean? Not everything in life is about function, but a lot of it is. I'm gonna be the guy hitting you up and be like,
hey. I could never run a business. I wasn't the best, but I did a lot of great work. But it's not easy to keep new customers. You need to learn how to make. Yeah, I mean, even I see with my chocolates right now, like, I'll get like a burst of like, hey man, like every week, like let me get another 2, and then I just don't hear from them for a year, like.
Damn, because you shroomed them out, bro. Come on.
No, it's not. It's not like it was. Some people are very slow with it. Like I get some people like once a month they get an ounce. Obviously, I'm not gonna depend on people or like the same customers to keep coming back. This is why I work so hard to constantly make chocolates, to put videos out there, like to show people like, hey, like this is what I'm doing, And when I'm out in the streets, I'm open about it, dude. Like just the other day, I was at the beach. I was going to the beach, and I actually got kind of tied into like, and this is how I work. This is how I work. So I'm walking to the beach. I have my guitar case with me, and then somebody's like, "Hi, well, do you have a moment to speak about women's empowerment?" And then I was like, on the way back, we'll see what's up. And then I do my thing, and I come back, and they're still there, and I was like, oh damn it. Whatever. And they were like, hey, what's up? Like, like you have a moment to speak? And I was like, yeah, sure, what's up? And they're like, oh, what's up? Where are you coming from? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I was at the beach playing guitar. I just did fucking mushrooms. What's up? And they were like, oh, what the fuck? It's just like, all right. And now I'm talking to them, and it's just so open. And like, dude, I made a sale right there, like, and that's how I work, like by being out in the world. And getting new people on Instagram, constantly,
Yeah, you're doing exactly what I'm saying. You know, you just but you know you have a product already. You know,
and I see what you're saying. I have a many set of skills that I can bring about. Right now, I do want to focus on the medicine thing first. You know, see how that goes. I was telling like every time I tell somebody, and I'm just like, hey, I'm thinking about making like not a retreat, but you know what it is, a ceremony. You know, and they're just like, oh, what is that? And I was like, I just sit you guys down. You know, I teach you guys about certain medicines. You know, and then we'll just, you know, instead of just taking mushrooms and having a good time, like you'll have a different type of time. You know, like you'll sit with it. You'll sit with it, and they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm interested in doing that. And I'm thinking about doing group sessions. You know, whatever, however much I sell, charge for it. Some people were like, that sounds really cool, but I don't want to do a group thing. And I'm like, all right, now I'm thinking about like, how would I do it private? Like, how would I be able to spend 5 hours with somebody and then charge accordingly? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, what am I going to be doing with them? You know, do I take my guitar, play Wish You Were Here for them all night long? You know? You know, it's like, so that's why I started to microdose, because microdosing helps me like just tap in. Like, I was so nervous every time somebody tells me to play the song, and if I'm not on mushrooms, like I'm nervous to play it. But if I'm able to like take mushrooms and play it with for somebody like while they're like really tripping hard, you know, like they're, and I don't like to say tripping because sometimes, you know, tripping indicates that we're gonna fall, you know. So it's like when we're on our journey, when they're on their journey to like, you know, self-enlightenment through the mushrooms, like what am I gonna be doing for them, you know? And I've already thought of all these things, you know, like I go and I sit in space with other people who are doing it for me, and all I gotta do is be like, yo, I've been doing this for 11 years. Why the fuck can't I guide someone else into doing it? I've seen the worst of it. I've seen the best of it, you know, like what I can do it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it makes sense.
And I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, I know everything," and like, you know, I'm fucking God. Like, no way, dude. No way.
So does that happen often? Are there fools out there that organize these events that act like they're God?
I know you want to hear that, but like, no, you just get people who are full of themselves for sure. Right. You know, so
so somehow through the powers that be, there are egotistical people trying to teach people about ego.
Of course, you know, like, of course, bro. People are human at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
true. So, hey, but I would be interested if you were a guide and, you know, if you were doing these cool things. I'd want to participate. Why not?
And I talk to my friends, like you said, like why do I think I'm good at this? Because you said it when we first started. It's like, you're the type of guy who can talk to somebody about emotions, and this is something that's gonna make you tap into there. And like, what do I provide? I provide a space where you can tell me, like, I'm worried about this, Eloy. Like, I'm worried that this might come up, you know, that the moment where this moment in my life that I felt like defined me might come up. And, like, this is the one thing I'm worried about. You know, it's like, well, we'll probably sit with that, you know, if it comes up. And people, like, I did it one time. And I did it after ayahuasca. And I think I had said it when I came. Oh, actually, I hadn't done it yet. I think, because I did ayahuasca and that week I was off and I came here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So after I left your podcast, I went up north and I told my friends, I was like, yo, I just did ayahuasca, you know, like I got some mushrooms. Let's go camping, you know, and let's try it, you know?
Yeah.
And I had them like fast for like a day, you know, to ingest it better. And man, like after, I remember my friend like, oh my God, Eloy, you're a healer, dude. You're a healer. And I was just like, yo, like, don't call me that. Like, I don't like that title. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, you don't understand. Like, and I was like, at the end of the day, we're just guides. We're people who bring it out of you, but the mushroom is the healer. The mushroom is the teacher. The mushroom is the healer, you know. That's where I leave it up to that. Like, because at the end of the day, like, once you've taken it, like, I'm just here to provide a safe space, you know, and do my best to make you feel comfortable. Like, nothing other than that. And if I add, you know, music or words of encouragement, you know, that's all it is.
That honestly makes a whole lot of sense, you know? And, you know,
with the sarape.
I'm sorry to say, but like I've experienced many other people that have ventured into this realm of spirituality and came back on the other side. And like I feel like they were just faking the funk. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of these people are like all about crystals and all about all these things, and they really have no meaning. You know, it's like believing in horoscopes, and you don't know why, and you don't know what the purpose is behind the heart. Like you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of superstition out there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get really superstitious really quickly, and it's easy for people to start being extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have had those experiences as well with certain people. So it kind of puts me off to some extent, but at the very same time, like I'm highly intrigued by what it actually means, and if someone like you can come around and actually express it better, you know. And
I mean, you know, like and it. I'm more confident now than ever because this last ceremony, this was my third ayahuasca ceremony. Like I said before, like my first one, you know, it was like, oh my God, like this is so beautiful. Like, what am I doing? You know, like I gotta branch out. And then what I do, I get into a toxic relationship. I start doing all these stupid things, right? My second one was more like I just really wanted to tap into like why I was the way I was with women. And the third one was like the final fight, you know. And I'll explain it really briefly. Like there was a moment when I'm laying there, I feel like throwing up this whole time, and then we have two musicians. One of them's Tommy, who's the main guide, and the other guy is Angel. He plays guitar and beautiful flute, man. Like some really intricate, like 3 like channel flutes that like sound like they're vibrating just by blowing. It's so beautiful, man. And they start playing this song. He had this little thing that I saw a guitar stand actually. It's a tube with the spring, a long black spring, and then you do something with it, you whip it, and it goes whang, like, and it sounds like lightning, you know.
I think I've seen that thing before. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? You know, I kept hearing it, and I remember I was like, oh, it was probably that toy that they had earlier, and I was like I'm there, and they start playing this like really dark song, and to this point, like I hadn't had experience like this. And what starts happening is like I start to feel like cold, like I start to do this, like dude, it's been the same temperature the whole time. All of a sudden I'm fucking cold, you know. Like I have blankets, like I'm chill, and then I start yawning, like this, like uncontrollably, like I cannot control it. I'm shaking, I'm shivering, and at this moment, like in my head. Like, at first, I'm just thinking, like, oh, I want to throw up. All of a sudden, I see, like, my mirror itself. You know, I see the dark Eloy, you know. And I'll speak for him. It's just like, hey, what's up? I'm back. And, like, this whole time, I've been trying to control it, you know, like, all my fucking vices, you know, like, everything. It's like, and these are portals. When you do this stuff, it's a portal, you know, to allow that energy to come back in and somehow take over. You always have to fight against it, you know, like. And so something they say is like when you see something you don't like, you smile, you blow away, go away, you know, just like leave me alone, like I don't want to fucking deal with you, you know. And this time, for the first time, bro, that shit got bigger and bigger. It was like I was blowing into fire and giving it oxygen, bro. Like it was just a fucking dark entity getting, and as I'm breathing, like the shaking, sweating, you know, like all these things, physical things, I'm purging, you know. I haven't thrown up yet to this point. Like. I finally defeated, and I felt like a baby after because it took so much energy at that moment to like do that, and like the whole time I'm like, thank you, mama, thank you, because again, remember the mother energy, and these guys are finishing up the song, you know. I'm telling you, it's like it was just like this. It was the first time I heard him play like this type of like ominous song, you know, like, and I'll get into it a little bit after, but once that was done. Like, it felt like I had beat something, you know, like I had grown in a sense. And I talk about manifesting because prior to this, I pick up the guide from the LAX and his right-hand man, and I take him to where they had to go and stuff. And the whole time I'm talking to him, like, yo, man, like, this time I really want to focus on these little aspects of my life. You know, I feel like a lot of times, like, I could be sitting, like, in some serious point, someone's telling me something, and I always want to make a joke about, you know, like, something like just to break the tension, you know. And like I feel like those are disrespectful. Like I feel like I need to be checked on that, you know. For some reason, like some people don't appreciate that, and like the people that don't like it is usually people who are more like mature, you know. And I think that's very mature of me, very something that a lot of Mexicans do, you know. And so I was just like, I was like, I want to check that on myself. And before we started, the guide said like, oh, like we had 2 jars of ayahuasca. He's like, if we finish both of these, I'll hang my robe up, you know, like meaning that this one's a really strong batch, you know what I'm saying? Because he offers 3 cups throughout the ceremony at your discretion. The first one everyone takes, and after that it's like 2 or 3, you know. So at this moment, I finally get up, and I had this other thing on me. It wasn't this one, but I get up and I sit in meditation pose, and they take a little bit so that they can play and serve us, you know, but they'll still go into that wavelength, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I get up, and I remember I like sit up like this, and I just like get in meditation pose, and I look at them, and I'm like, you know, I'm ready to do what you guys do. Like my other 2 times, I throw up and I'd go through all this shit, and I stay asleep to the end. Like I'd be like shaking and shit, and then he'd be like, all right, ceremony's over, and I'd be like, whoa, it's over. And this time I was able to like release that, you know. And I was like I remember just looking at them and like being like, yo, this music is beautiful, like, you know. And I was looking at him play guitar and like how into it they were and things like that. It was like seeing a concert, like, right, you know, because it's so much energy, bro. It's crazy. And then he starts playing a song, and it's like very like airy, like I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to soar, bro. Like, and he starts playing the song, he starts singing about condors and eagles and shit, you know. And then he's like el águila y la montaña, you know, and things like that. And I start feeling this energy. I and you don't do these things because you're just like, yeah, I'm fucking like, no, bro. It's like, this is where the thing comes. It's like ancestors talking to you. What are our ancestors? Like animals, right? We see them through animals. And these are images that come to me, right? And so I fucking pump my chest up, and I feel like an eagle, bro. Like at this moment, I feel like an eagle. And I fucking get up to dance, bro. Like, and I have I have a sash, you know, like a long one, like with like fluffy, kind of like this, you know, at the ends. And I start doing a dance, bro. Like, not like I'm like dancing, and like, nah, it's just like as the music goes, I'm waving, you know, like, and I'm looking at everybody, and I like if I'm soaring over a community, you know. And like, this is something that every time I do medicine, it's like my intention is to create community, to bring people together and to heal, you know. And so I felt like I was watching over everybody, you know. And like, once I was done, like, I sat back down and I respected, you know, like. And I remember after that song was done, Tommy, the main guide, he looks over at me. He's like, he looks at everybody. He's like, if everyone wants to come up for the last cup, you know, the 3rd cup, you're welcome to do so. And like, something inside of me came out again, like another like bout of dark ego just looks at him, and it's like, you son of a bitch, like I know what you meant earlier, you know. But like that little, like, you know, like that little darkness, like immediately, like I just threw it up. Like that, like I was not expecting to throw up. Like, I thought I wasn't gonna throw up anymore. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna throw up this session, you know. And I just throw up, and it was like I was throwing up this dark entity, you know, into the bucket. And I look up, and I was like, oh shit, like that was it, you know. It was like your mom beats your ass, you know. That moment I was shaking and shivering, and then she's like, okay, you got the lesson, you know, you can dance now or whatever. And then I look at him, and I'm like, you fucking asshole. And then she's like, you still haven't fucking learned. And she slaps the shit out of me, and then I throw up, you know. And I was just like, oh shit, okay, I get it, you know. And then it was like I was able to sit and like just enjoy the rest of the night, bro. Like, and it was amazing. And that's when I learned that I was like, you know, after I told you that people come together and we talk about experiences, I was like, you know, from this point on, like, I don't want anyone. I'm not gonna let anything, especially myself, like, stop me from doing what I want to do. Like, I want to serve others. I want to help my community. I want to bring people together. Like, these are things like that I'm truly like blessed to even to be born in me.
This is why it's important, I think, like, even in podcast form, like, why podcasts are so awesome, because like you get to we were just saying the problem with people not understanding fully what this means is that they don't, you know, there's no way to put everything you just said, that whole experience, into a phrase or a word and then say that to somebody so then they can encapsulate that whole experience into one thing. You know what I mean? Like, someone really has to sit down and listen to you all the way through to understand fully what that experience is, and then to want to participate in that, you know. So to a certain extent, that's the cap, you know. That's where we're at. Communication is key. We gotta communicate more about what these things are.
He's saying maybe he was trying to tell you something. The image I immediately was brought to me was the image on the Mexican flag, the eagle capturing the snake. You know,
yeah,
your higher self capturing your ego. You know what I'm saying? Like you just like it literally felt when I started to dance. It felt like the fucking eagle came down and just clamped it. Like, shut the fuck up, calm down. You know. And now it's got you in my claws. But we always have to remember that image, that snake is very much alive, and it's not like this. You know, it's still like, motherfucker, I'm gonna get you too. You never see an image, although you never see an image where like I think I did see one where like the snake is also wrapped around the eagle, which is like something I actually think about. It's like, I have my yin and my yang. You know, I respect the fucking yang, bro. Like, is that the dark one?
I'm not even sure.
Well, I respect the dark side. I know it's there. I know it keeps me alive because the ego is. It's not that you have an ego death. Is you control it. You don't let it take over. Like, you don't. There's no such thing as ego death. Yeah, your ego literally keeps you alive. It keeps your heart beating. Yeah, that demon has to be controlled. You can let it out when you're fucking gonna fight somebody. You know, like, but you always have to make sure to check it, bro. Like, you know, UFC fighters, you can tell which one has. When a person who has their ego checked, like, they'll let loose, but they won't go and just keep beating on somebody, you know? Like, they'll be like, all right, he's done. Like, that's ego checked, you know? Ego not checked is beating that motherfucker till he dies.
Mike Tyson.
You know what I'm saying?
Ripping off the ear.
Yeah. Yang and yang, yeah. Yang gang. Yang gang. Hey, man, but let's wrap this up, dude. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. No
there's a lot, so much more. Like, we should have a round two. Once there's something else I'm willing. Once I do my ceremony, a couple ceremonies, I'll come back and I'll hopefully.
Yeah, we'll promote your.
At this point, you know, like, but yeah, if you guys want to, I just made a page. Can I send you an image to? I want to see. I want to show what I got done. Oh,
hey,
man.
I got a congratulations from Restream. Looks like I've received
Technologic. Commented 100 times.
Yeah, he got us a little trophy from Restream. Check that out. Much. Shout out to Technologic. Yeah, we'll pull up whatever you want me to pull up. Here, let's go. You want us to check out your IG?
Yeah, I just made it right now. Like earlier today. It's called Healing Wonderland.
Oh, let's check that out. So
it's so new. Like, I don't have nothing on it except one image, but it's my new label. My cousin's wife made it for me, and I just told her like what I was thinking. Like, I was like, hey, I've always loved Alice in Wonderland, but I want something a little more different.
That's the first one right there, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
And I'm using the name that I spelled it wrong, actually. It's because I was driving when I was doing this. I'm using the name that I first took within on my first Ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah, these two are backwards right here, no?
No, it's Gualnemelitzli.
Yeah, there's a T right here.
Yeah, there's a T.
Well, look, I'm going to give you a little follow, see what's up.
Okay, so like go ahead and just click on the image. So I asked her to pretty much give me an image of Alice in Wonderland, and I want the caterpillar. You know, the caterpillar signifies like who is like thyself. You know, like who are you? Who am I? You know, like what are we? You know, like, and the cat is more like the brain. You know, like in the sense like the caterpillar is more like the spirit, and the cat is more like the brain. You know, like we're all mad here. You know, like. You're mad, I'm mad, we're all mad, like, so, like, that's what they signify, you know, like, and this is why mushrooms are very important in this image, because mushrooms help with understanding through your mind who you are and whatnot. And so Alice here is I told her, and she literally gave me exactly what I asked her, dude. I was like, I want a pretty
rad image.
I want Alice to be in a meditation pose, like, you know, not a little girl. She's like 30 years old. She's been through shit, but she still has like the colors to show that it's her, you know. So she still has the little puffs, you know, from her dress.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. But like her clothes is tattered, you know, and her third eye is open. I don't know if you noticed, like her full on third eye. But yeah, man, like this image, like she just finished it today, and I was like, holy shit, this is literally like. And I told my friend, I have an artist friend, I'm like, man, I have like all these like these thoughts come to my head. And I would just wish somebody could put them on a drawing, you know, but like, it would cost me so much money. Like I need to learn how to draw, but nah, I'm just like I'd rather like pay somebody to bring my image to life, and you know, it wasn't that expensive. I mean, through her, you know, like she helped me out a lot, you know. But
no, this looks legit, and it's a nice start to a new enterprise that you're working on. So this is pretty rad.
These are I'm gonna be selling these stickers. And
this is gonna be a sticker.
I'm gonna make it into a sticker, and I'm also gonna put them on like the chocolate. So I'm gonna make small stickers to just slap on the chocolate.
So now you have a brand.
Healing Wonderland, yeah.
There you go. Now you got a brand. See, now you step 1.
Yeah.
Reach realization. Step 2, commercialize it. No, I just fuck with you.
Pretty much, bro. I mean, like it's like
I'm just being a hater, bro.
Nah, dude. I don't care. I'll step fully into that. You know, like that's what it is. There's no other word for it. You know.
No, it's great, honestly, and you know, the more people you can provide this service to, the more people that are aware and want to engage in this is the better. I think it cannot do any more damage than cocaine, alcohol, and tobacco have already done. You know what I mean? That stuff is terrible. It
will repair it, actually.
It will repair the damage that you've done to yourself from engaging in these other illicit. And we don't even have to talk about hard drugs like methamphetamine and even pharmaceuticals like, you know, OxyContin and fucking, you know, all these other drugs that are prescribed to you that are terrible, that will destroy your life. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about none of that, and somehow this is still looked at as in a negative connotation, you know? But it is what it is. Yo, everybody check out Healing Wonderland. Give him some follows on his new thing. I just hit him with a follow. I'll come back around and hit you with my other account as well. Everybody just, you know, go follow him, and, you know, let's boost up his that
shit is so sick, bro. Like, it's so sick. I'm in love with it, you know, but I know that I can't attach myself to it for too long.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. I have had the brand Fusion Workshop or Fusion since the day I was in high school. You know what I mean? So sometimes if it works, it works, you know? But hey, thank you for coming on the podcast. All boys going to sleep already. All this microdosing has got him tired. I feel okay.
All right, as we're stepping out, I'm just
you want to do some flute?
Hit this shit again real quick.
Go hit it. Hit the flute, boy. Hey, thank you, Technologic, for jumping on the pod.
Yeah, thanks, man. You're really cool. Follow me, and I'll follow you back.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram. Hit us with the flute, Eloy.